Nice TV, the hope of joy.
Thengio muno mwiroreri wa Nice TV rucine ruru rwega rwa mweri icio cihandite 12 mweri uyu wa kana mwaka wa 2021 na no turathie na mbere oro wega Ngai no athite na mbere na gutuiga na gutuhekia ukia muoyo noguo twakwa tucoketie ngatho muno ni tondu wa makiria gutukorwo kana gukorwo nyitanire na ithuĩ muthenya uyu wa Jumatatu na no turakiona mweri no uragithie utengerete mwaka turaruguririe oro ira na riu ndungiriganirwo ni kaundu karia wekire Januari 2 tutigana horo wa thigũkũ ya Januari muno ngo kwari na COVID-19 andu aingi matiahotire gukorwo mena good celebration no riu kuma mweri 2 no makiuge hihi muthenya ucio hihi ni ndecirie ndaumagariria again such things. It is still as clean, crystal clear like it is yesterday. Oguo ni kuga na gikuyu ati kwana otare ira kaundu karia wekirwo ndakora mweri 2 wa Januari kana mweri 2 wa Januari mwaka uyu ndungiriganirwo. Taki imagine kwa ntare ira oro ira tutukiruguria mwaka uyu na no atwe mweri wa kana. Oguo ni kuga tutonyete in the next quarter ya mwaka uyu wa 2021 toni ukio mwaka tukio in quarters okiganio maita mana. Oguo ni kuga in every 3 months bit mweri wa Januari ginya wa gatatu ginya wa gatandatu ginya wa kenda wa 12. Oguo ni kuga rutwe mweri wa mbere thini wa the second quarter of this 2021 nikionaga na mabengi maingĩ makoragwo makiheana their status report okona kambuni nyingĩ cikoragwo cikiheana their status report iria ciraigua they are so much into public and therefore because of the public glare hena the right of the public to own information uria kurathie na mbere thĩinĩ wa makambuni mao tondũ rĩngĩ nĩmakoragwo maigithĩtie mbeca kũrĩa kana dividends cia kũgona kĩ na kĩ maũndũ ta mau ũguo nĩgetha gwĩkinya okorwo ta mwaka makorwo makimenya phase ya mbere twathondekire phase ya kerĩ mbeca ici phase ya gatatũ nĩyo third quarter na fourth quarter maũndũ ta mau ũguo rĩu o nawe nĩ ũbatiĩ kwanjia weka ratings cia maundu maku maria bangite thini wa 2021 ni kaundu kale ukau gwabangite ni gukorwo wika gwikinyia mwaka uyu wa 2021 gatagati ni kaundu kale ukau wabangite ni gukorwo kenda gukorwo kirikia gwikinya mwaka wa 2021 December-ini aiko ndurathio calculated in bits in every quarterly bit nigetha gakorwo kirivisit maundu maku ni gukorwo kihitiria muno ni tondu if you don't plan, then you plan to fail automatically. Naguo niguo kokwana ni rĩtwa rĩakwa no rĩrĩa njĩtagwo ngetwo Aruda na kuo gũkũ nĩ mũciĩ wa gĩkeno niguo twĩtaga wa Nice TV kana Nice TV na yo nĩ tabarĩra yaku wendete ya Maatha Show MAATHA Maatha Show na nĩ ũkĩũndũ thiaga kũmatha hĩndĩ ĩrĩa agũtuĩkire wa gũkĩa umathaga tene kio tugona marigiti ni tene mboga itanahoha noguo umatho wa marigiti ni wa tene mboga itanahoha we kuwa na ngari arahoka tene kabi kiuga ni kurigagia thaa ya kurikira gwo thaa 10 okorwo gino warikia gwithamba such things nigetha kiuga ni 11 hau kana 10:30 you are in the already in your office we na okorwo wa marigiti na kuo tagu we nawe murutwo urakiuga ni muhingite cukuru ni ihinda ria gukoma wihenetie muno ni tondu muringiti wa ungikagia marima ndakwa ndukae gukirio ni mundu uguo ni kuga ati maku ni magagukiria no kono migua andu makio statement icio muri ciana na muri andu ahi ti ciana such maybe but you are always children to your parents anyway migua rege muciari wako wekwira we koma muno we maku ni magagukiria rĩngĩ nĩ ũkĩra rĩngĩ mũciari waku nĩ okĩra nĩ athiĩ wĩra-inĩ na okĩra athiĩ wĩra-inĩ rĩngĩ gũtiga kũrĩa rĩngĩ nyũmba nayo akĩmenya rĩu nĩ tondũ nĩ hĩndĩ rĩakwa rĩa gwĩka ũndũ wĩka nĩ ndĩrarimũtha gũkũ nĩ niĩ ndĩrehe mawatho kana nĩ ndĩrabuata kana nĩ ndĩra set out the rules and regulations tondũ gũtikĩrĩ na the CEO na chairperson wa board nĩwe mũthe kana nĩwe baba na maybe tũkiuge deputy nĩ mũtumia such things rĩu akiuga rĩu naniĩ gĩkome wĩhenetie mũno korwo geka kaundu constructive o kaundu kewa creative onogo no kiuge atite no do that much ingihota gikorwo gika ndukae kuriganirwo we murutwo tonya mabuku-ini ni tondu riu ibuku rimwe ni rigakuguna na ihinda ringi gakinya ria ukorwo wigite mathomo kando ugeragia gukorwo ki multitask ni ukorwo wika studies ni ukorwo wika maundu ma family ni ukorwo wika contribution yaku hari wira uria uraruta wow so much na maundu maingi tu it was just a pinch makaria kuri arutwo we ukomete thaa igiri ni ciandite ndubati ukorwo witoro ni amu ukira tumathe ni tondu wa Maatha na ithui haha ni ukorwo kigia umenyo na wagia umenyo niguo twitaga utauku niguo twitaga information na ni ukiwe right to information ni kihoto gia kwita mukenya wa kawaida na roto uguo tu ni kuri no ndungi tuga ati ukorwo wina information wina power na tihinya twakorwo na machina mishinga kana ki no ni ati wina ugi wina umenyo wina tauku wina wandadu wina wali wina perspective jarie kana broadened mind ya ukorwo wina umenyo wa maundu ria mahana thiini waku thiini wa maria makurigiceirie hamwe na thiini wa bũrũri ona nja wa mĩhĩrĩgo ya Kenya maria mothe tukorwo tukimenya tuketora metha-inĩ ya Maatha show uguo ũratirithania na ithuĩ korwo wina assurance ati maundu maya mothe tukorwo tugikurehera nigetha tutigirire ati ni wakorwo wina utauku na umenyo wa maundu mau mothe ndukae gukorwo ikara haraya na ithuĩ uguo guikarania na ithuĩ tigote guikarania na ithuĩ ni kumatha nikio tukwira andu ngithi kumatha hindi ria gukiire umathaga rucine nigetha ugatigira ati nawe hindi ya riũa riratuka ni ria gutha mugongo kuigana wako kĩondo gĩaku nĩ kĩihũrĩte uguo niguo tukoragwo tuwika guku kwa Nice TV na makiria guku kwa Maatha show na ngakuria we wina gabiacara gaku wenda kurikana na ithuĩ wenda biacara yaku ikorwo ikiarama ndukae gukorwo wikarite haraya nani ni tondu o tugithiaga na mbere thiini wa mũrurumo wa mbere thiini wa mũrurumo wa keri ona thiini wa mũrurumo wa gatatu thiini wa Maatha show ni gukorwo ngigutariria ni atia ungika nigetha gabiacara gaku kaibaibe nigetha gabiacara gaku kararame nigetha kĩondo kĩrĩa ukoragwo kinukia oro muthenya ikorwo ni kiambatira na ikorwo ni kiambatira ni kuga atia customers ni omongerereka ti gwetha wetha muno ni customers moka na moka tondu ni makorwo mena utauku moka tondu ni makorwo mena umenyo moka tondu ni mathikagiria Maatha show na moka ni tondu ni maiguite na hau ni hoka wena gabiacara gaku na ni ukoragwo kiruta wira waku na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire matiko matekumenya uguo agikorwo ndukwenda tutwarane nawe njira imwe tukorwo twi uguo ha nawe tukorwo twana kiratu na ikinya ni tondu ni tukoragwo tuguteithia gukinyiria kuri andu angi na hau uguo na hende magituka akuongereka uguo ni kuga atia kamucara hende akongereka no igua na no igua no wake na kena hanini no uguo nigetha gacikorwo kena retains na uhote kena maintains icio cia mbeca kana akowe na that sustenance ya mbeca iria ukoragwo uikirite ka opportunity kangi na hau na wakirite ka opportunity kangi na hau ni kuga wakirite ka biacara kangi na hau uguo geka branch kana ka extension ka the main branch no no wakorwo githondekera mundu ungi wira na hau no uguo ni kuga atia ni wakorwo create opportunity na uguo ni kuga do na contribute to an extra effort ya kuongera kanyamu thiini wa muhuko waku no ni wakorwo ugita mundu ungi na hau mwako mugia kana nake mwakorwo mugithi makinya mau ma uthii wa nambe thiini wa wira waku no uguo ni kuga hinde wira wa therema uguo ni kuga gwake mucina kuone kwario kana gwake mucina kwa mundu cio wandika no kwa nunga gitunguru ro hamwe na gwaku we mwene hino aya gakarike na uguo no contribute ale gutumira maguta thiini wa bũrũri wa Kenya na uguo maguta ni makorwo makigurwo in the same way no wakorwo kira tax kuri thirikari kana kuri counties na uguo no wakorwo kiambateria ginya kiondo kia tax so it is all it all emanates kana maya mothe maumanaga na undu uyu umwe urakorwo ukiona we munini no ti munini tondu we urathikiria Maatha show tugaga here is where we count the finest detail and greatness starts weko wira aku ni ukwenda ukorwo ukiandanduka ugikorwo we great ngumo ndikana mwene tamania nani tidania nani haha tuikaranie tutwarane imwe nawe ni ukorwo gikwira ni atia uguo tugukorwo tugika na ngaigua ngirwo atiriri ikia statement ya deka we ukorwo witwarana na ithui ikia statement ya ona deka na ngirathi tulike thiini wa ngatheti itu ya muthenya wa umuthi ngona twina ngatheti ngwenda kuwa the ngatheti ya Daily Nation niyo yo muthenya wa umuthi na ndarora mwena uyu ungi ngona handu hena the red colors wone kuga ni ngatheti ya The Standard rucine ruru rwega rwa mweri icio 12 na uyu ni wa kana na ndona thiini wa ngatheti na tokwanja na ngatheti ya The Daily Nation muthenya wa umuthi na ndarora ngona they are jitters what political jitters kaurugari keho kaigui keho kena kugo thiini gakoragwo kari ga gutigithukithia ni wakorwo interview ni handu tere egukorwo egikarirwo kuma muthi kuria JSC na tukorwo twikinya nginya ku no tukorwo twigutaria maundu mothe kuria JSC ni kuririkana ni kwendwo kumenyeke no ugukorwo gicoka iratu ni cia mundu ugwitwo former chief justice niwe David Kenani Maraga na nigetha tweherie nigetha tweherie D ino guo ebere wa Philomena Bete Mwiru ino itagwo deputy CJ tweherie D oguo tutigwo na the CJ iria akoragwo ina mundu ugwitwo David ni ana mundu etagwo Kenani Maraga na ma mothe ma okorwo magithii na mbere ku na tondu waka urugari ka ugu mune okorwo akirigu am I the did fitting guy here, you know, they'll start kuchocha ni the same thing uigwa we kigarani ukaigwa maiciria makuta me scattered. The same case is appearing here, what we call the political jitters. Na wone kuoneka urugari karia kari kuo thiini wa kiama kana thiini wa ciama itiganite guku thiini wa bururi ni kuria kiama kia ODM ni kwini ngina kiama kia mundu gwitwo Ruto nikio kia UDA riu tukoragwo tukiugwa twi iguru wa miti ni tondu tukoragwo tukimenya mundu gwitwo deputy president thiini wa UDA goikara no ti gukombora akomborete hinda kuo uguo no thiini wa Jubilee ni kuoneka gatari kalasho tuga seems like it is already finito na tugithii na mbere no woni kwa finito hari we gukorwa thiini wa kiama kiu muno no ngoma thiini wa thirikari doneka he is not so much into it but interested so much in the UDA party na neturakiona ni kuri na urugari ucio wakorwo ati hihi this conversation area ikoretwo eku ati mundu ugwitwo deputy president William Ruto na oro mwe na mundu ugwitwo Raila Odinga kana hihi they have this idea of really merging kana mehamwe muno ugutigirira ati tugithie into 2022 ntuko tukiona hi mehamwe muno no uguo ni kuga atia ati ni kuri na miario irakorwo igithie na mbere ya mundu ugwitwo Ruto ukorwo mai from some kind of coalition na mundu ugwitwo Raila Odinga no nwe mutongoria wa kiama giki kia ODM na mene maria marathi na mbere gukorwo magitheruka tukona mundu ugwitwo iruku kangata no nwe senator wa kuria mwena wa Murang'a akigwa tukorwo tukinyitana agikorwo kana tukorwo tukinyitana agikorwo our people kana andu aria tukorwo tukirepresent acio ni uguo ni kuwa ni andu a county ya Murang'a oro hamwe na mundu ugwitwo mundu ta Rigathi Gachagua no akuria mwena wa Mathira constituency mwena wa Nyeri county no makoretwo makiari makauga ati gutonya na mundu kugwitwo kwa Rigathi na akoretwo akiuga actually the cost that Ruto can really get of loss upon him merging or getting into pact with Raila Odinga is more loss than the advantages he would be when alone. No ne kuga atia ati gukorwo makinyitana na Raila ni kuhanta kurahana uko ta kuratigithukithania andu aya muno makire thini wa kirema kia fukata gato afu niko tuta Mount Kenya region kuria kwina andu matanyiheire ngiri milioni 8 cia kura no guo kunyitana na Raila rihi kuratwaririra ku kuratwarira owe akorwa githina be na njirere agiriki uteti kana kumuna mara gukorwa akimunina maundu maria me thiini wa karatathi ka mbere thiini wa ngathiti na The Daily Nation na ndo no twa no ragithi na mbe gukorwo we na urugari na tukona thutha wa mundu ugwitwa Raila Odinga ugu hamagithanitie na Raila tukona thutha wa Raila hena mbica mutongoria wa bũrũri Uhuru wa Kenyatta arorete mwena hanini ugu na tukona nake mwena wa Ruto. It is just very bare with just the normal background color no tukona mundu wa thutha wa mundu ugwitwa Ruto tukona thutha wake na mundu hena gabica ka Uhuru wa Kenyatta kuga there is kind of a through window kuonania maybe telling you that ne bicere haha guo we no tauri ole wothe ungienda thiini wa ngathiti ya The Daily Nation no ni wega ukorwo kirika thiini getha ukorwo kimenya na makiri na njira ya warie maundu mau maikarite atia tugithiaga na mbere tukona urugari naguo no ragithi na mbere gukorwo ukiambatira makiria kuria kwa ministry ya ugima wa mwiri ni tondu wa kuria bururi wa India ukon mekite kindu gitagwo ban of exportation ya kindu gitagwo the covid jab na ni kuwa kana the vaccine ino ya AstraZeneca ira kwa ida riri irakorwo ni irakorwo ikihana guko bururi ni ririkana vaccine ya the Sputnik na tuthi na mbere tukira maundu maya uguo ni akorirwo ya kurugamio guko bururi ni na kuratu ikade agereire na maundu mau uguo no maragithie na mbere gukorwo magithie na mbere na kuiga no tugithie na mbere tukimaroraga na njira ya mwanya muno uguo o tugithiaga na mbere na gatheti ino ya The Daily Nation tukona the Strathmore Trio on track to win Business and Innovation Award na aya ni arutwo aria manyitanite mari atatu nio mareto the trio uguo kana trio ni manyitanite nigetha gutigira ati makorwo makigwatira kana makorwo makihotana thiini wa uthunduri kana kiheo kiria kiheanagwo ni kambuni icio cia uthunduri na icio citago the Hals Prize Challenge held on Saturday kana uyu wali undu wa thiri na mbere muthenya wa Jumamothi nigetha gutigira ati makorwo makihotanira kiheo gikio kana makorwo makihotanira ngerenwa ino ya kumana na gukorwo mari very entrepreneurial very innovative in terms of the idea ya maundu megie agriculture tugaithii na mbere gukiona uria andu uria Akenya wene makoretwo mena kamenyero kana mena huthira ya gukorwo magithie na mbere na kwirigita kana guthie na mbere gutwika ndagitari ao ene kumana na guthie haria over the counter na magetia ndawa iria marenda na tukona undu no ragithi na mbere ukorwo rituhite na niko kuratuika ati ni urathie ucenjetie andu megwitwo mbeu njithi makiri na miaka ya gatagati-ini na waituika ati ni ndu wa gukorwo ni magithia na mbere ukiura ndawa ici over the counters matekumenya effects cia ndawa ici ni iriku thutha wa gukorwo ati mena meciria maingi no ni magenda gukorwo makinyihia stress ciao na magathi na mbere kugura ndawa icio uguo cikoragwo ci control kana cikoragwo cigithurima kana cigiteithĩrĩria arĩa arwaru mĩrimũ ya meciria na njĩra ĩmwe kana ĩrĩa ĩngĩ nĩ gakoneka karetwo gaka kana ga statement ka English reke ndigathome gũkandĩkĩtwo nĩgetha kaume na njĩra ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire. Drugs legally sold over the chemist for as little as 10 shillings are turning youths into zombies. Na ũguo nĩ kuga atĩ o marakĩoneka hita mahana o tarĩ kind of nĩ ũkĩũĩ you know zombies generally nĩguo nĩ kuga no ta no you know when someone you are just a person like where will you way yani you have nothing content na maundu no maragithi na mbe twagithi ni kuri igoti-ini ria thuburimu kana igoti-ini itugiru na makiria ruhonge twite ru JSC aniga tukorwo tukimenya no cio gukorwo akirika gutuika CJ na kwina urugari wiku uguo thutha mundu ugwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru no niwe DCJ kana Deputy Chief Justice na ni kwina uhoro ati we ni akoretwo kana we ni gukorwo ari omwe wa aria megukorwo maikarire bench ya aria megukorwo magithurima aya ikomi aria marenda gukorwo mari the next Chief Justice na ni kuri na urugari uri urathi na mbere ukorwo ukiyumiria ni gutuika we already to nwe the DCJ no wikarire gite kiu uguo no kwa kuna kindu gitwa conflict of interest kana no akorwo influence the outcome kumana na uhoro ati mundu ugwitwo Fred Gatia no ni senior counsel na ukorwo senior counsel ni kuwa ni ukoretwo wina experience yaku kana thiini wa maundu megie watho na mashira maria ukoretwo gitwara igoti-ini ni mekurikanite na toro uguo tu uri umwe wa aria acirithania kana we uri umwe wa mawakiri maria thiini wa bũrũri wa Kenya na tukona mundu ugwitwo Gatia ro hamwe na mundu ugwitwo Maatha wa gatagati ka angi aingi hamino na aria angi they among the senior counsel you have in the country actually about 48 in total aya tuno thiini wa bũrũri wa Kenya na riu akiona mundu ugwitwo Chief Justice kwina that influence ati no akorwo influence kana outcome ya the next Chief Justice ni tondu wa gukorwo mundu ugwitwo Fred Gatia ni amu representate cira-ini wake uria anakorwo athitangirwo wa maundu megie akorwo athukitie kana akiavoid kana horo ige maundu megie ngukumio na undu uyu wagikorwo no wanagithi na mbere kuria magoti-ini na ugo mundu gwitwo Fred Gatia to no wakorirwo ari wakiri wake no akorwo influence muno gutigirira ati we no gutuika the next Chief Justice na ugo mundu ugwitwo the former DPP ni mundu uretwo Murgor gukorwo agithi na mbere gukorwo akiuga ati Deputy Chief Justice no Philomena Mbete Mwiru afatie gukorwo atari thiini wa that bench kana thiini wa cio megukorwo magithurima the next Chief Justice na undu no agithite na mbere gugitwarithia nginya igoti na akorwo akiregana na uhoro ucio ati akorwo agithi na mbere na maragithi na mbere gukorwo ati gukirikana ati ono kana mundu gwitwo Chief Justice Deputy Chief Justice no Philomena Mbete Mwiru ati aikono yokorwo eho hatire utiganu munene gukorwo ugicenjia na ugo maundu no maragithi na mbere thiini wa karatathi ga gatandatu ni uhoro makiria gukoretwo gutaria karatathi-ini ka mbere uhoro wigie mundu gwitwo Raila Odinga hamwe na mundu gwitwo mutongoria wa no gwitwo Deputy President William Ruto gukorwo makinyitana ni tondu wa 2022 na twakira ningi uria kurathi na mbere ukorwo kwina questions kana ukorwo kwina Kenya mbona uria wa kuria gicua-ini makiria kuria mene ya Liwatoni floating bridge marakorwo makiuga ni marakorwo mena urito muno gukorwo magitumira bridge ne ya Liwatoni na ni tondu ba gukorwo kura marauga ni marakorwo magithii ng'endo ndaya muno gukinya kuria makoragwo magikinya na njira ya hakuhi kana na njira ya ihenya na uguo ni kuga ni handu hakuhi ni marakorwo makiuga Liwatoni bridge ni rakorwo ikimaraihiria kuria marakorwo magithii na mbere twathi ningi kuona uhoro wigi setback in war on virus as India bans export of key drug neno ni drug kana ino ni janjo ino rathi na mbere kwa no bũrũri-inĩ wa Kenya ririkana bũrũri wa India na ni makorirwo makiuga ati kwa ni gukoretwo kwina kuongerereka kwa COVID-19 nogo makiuga we are setting back inwardly na ni kuga o marambire kwa njoko kwa magifocus na bũrũri wao nigetha gutigirira ati ni makorwo makirwa mũrimũ ũcio wa COVID-19 ni makorwo makirwa na COVID-19 na njira iria yagirire na thiini wa karathi ka 12 Kenyans mari ugwati-ini thutha wa gukorwo ati ni kuri na apps cikoragwo cithimini na andu aingi ni macio thiini wa bururi wa Kenya na makiria ikoragwo cigikuithia ngombo na icio ni apps itiganite ni ucio we muroreri iria we ukoragwo ugitumira we urathikiria we urendorera na njira ya ukorwo uli one of our person subscribing to our online platform na nino tugita Nice TV tugakiona we iria utumagira ni imwe ya icio ciratwika ati ni ciri muhari-ini wa mbere hari gutigirira ati kasi muhari-ini wa mbere ukorwo magiflout kana uguo ni kuga ni makoretwo makinyururia ohoro kana watho uria wiko wigitwo akindu gitagwo the data privacy na uguo ni kuga ati we documents kana we details ciaku iria wakorwo ugipass haria online nigetha ukorwo kiheo ngombo ni makoretwo makiagarara mawatho maria makoragwo magithurima ati kana data iyo ni yakorwo ikigwo na njira ire yagiri na uguo ni kuga atia ati no ukore kwina hita to gukora kwina promotion messages cia kinya thiini wa thimu yaku ukarigwo ino nayo surely kana hindi ya otetede yari kwedi ya 2017 polls ni wakinyita handu ukona uratumirwo messages cirafuata like o muthenya ukarigwo atiri no uyu wandikithire no neanire namba ciaku cia thimu no heanire details ciaku who this person who is this person who issued out your details without your know na uguo niguo kwahana na icio cirako ni cia gukombithania roni na makwa mandikite muno lending apps on spot for flouting data privacy na ohoro makiria ni na bena ukorwo ukiariririo thiini wa karatathi gaka ka 12 nawe ugakirwo we be on watch ni tondu maybe you might find this information cikenje gukinyira makiria tugithia na mbere na makiria uko tukirora uteti wa 2022 maundu ma no meko magithia na mbere na kuyumiria na uguo mawatho muno marakorwo muno makithia na mbere uko magiflout kana he mawatho maria makoma masetetwo out mako magika kindu gitagwo protection of data na uguo niguo tuga horo wa data privacy tugithiaga na mbere tukona thiini wa gatunika omuthi twakiona debt na ituhete guoko ogutuoha na more debts no turagithi na mbere uko tugitia makiria ati kuguru kumwe kuohetwo ni mitaga the dock tola wanaga meri ohereirwo hari ta docking nigetha ndikayokorwo igithie itari rohorwo the same case is applying here ithu tuhetwo na icegera ka tuhetwo na kindu gitagwo chain ka ne nyororo itunyitithie kuguru wega ne gatuheria kiiga kirito we takereko ke mai ni maria makome mai ni mairu nikyo gicoretwo haho gituhereine gakorwo kina nyororo itunyitite kuguru wega tuona tukona kamundu ke haha gacoretwo haho kena federa ya Kenya na tukona kegucitie kwigucia tu no karathi na mbere gwitia more debt nikiiga kiki muno ria iguru na kiohereirio handu hano gwo iguru riu ntakiracunjura uguo akirathi na mbere gicera nikio nda demonstrate nigetha ukorwo kiona what I mean by that na tukona gaka no karetia mo na gatu ni karia gacoretwo thiini wa gatheti na the relation karathika 14 tugithiaga na mbere tukona ngirimiti no cirathi na mbere gukorwo cikeimirika na horo igie gucokereria urumwe mwega kana watwitaga public relations kana horo igie gukorwo mwina urumwe mwega na o ni thafuru wa Kenya gukorwo leo ni maraja guthi na mbere magitonyana na bũrũri wa Tanzania na njira mwanya mo ni ukurikana kwa na karugari gataraka dawo yake ga hindi ya mundu gwitwo president Joseph Pombe Magufuli na riu turona mundu ugwitwo Amina Mohamed ni atumitwo bũrũri wa Tanzania nigetha mathi makorwo makiarana na mundu ugwitwo president wa kuria bũrũri wa Tanzania no niwe Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan Her Excellency na ni tondu wa undu ucio wakiona Kenya ni raja ni marathi na mbere gukorwo magikirithia pass and now they are entering a new dawn na bũrũri wa Tanzania na nigetha gukorwo kwina urumwe mwega twakiona mundu ugwitwo former CS of Foreign Affairs niwe the current CS of Sport mundu ugwitwo Amina Mohamed nawe no gukorwo no atumitwo ni President Uhuru wa Kenyatta nigetha athina mbele ukorwo akuhiriria bũrũri wa Kenya na Tanzania kwetukira mĩario yake na mundu ugwitwo Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan no tugithiaga na mbere twakona maiguithani maundu maigana ona twakiona me hau uguo which is a good show na ukurikana nake mundu ugwitwo Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan with the president of Tanzania ni marari na mundu ugwitwo Mugabe na mundu ugwitwo ti Mugabe mundu ugwitwo president wa kumana wa Uganda niwe Yoweri Kaguta Museveni nigetha makorwo makendekanira agreement na makiria nigetha gutigirira ati ni makorwo magithondeka rugi pipelining kana rugi gu channel maguta kwetukira pipelines kuma bũrũri wa Uganda nginya Tanzania na mo maundu maria maragithi na mbere gukorwo mariho thiini wa county news tukona thiini wa North Rift counties misused COVID-19 park na ogwo ni kuga ni kuri counties cia korirwo cigithukangia mbeca icio guo ciakoretwo cikiheanwo cia ukorwo makithurima kana makorwo makirwa cia ukorwo cigiteithĩrĩria county cikorwo na mũrimũ wa COVID-19 kuma kuri national treasury kana kuma kuri central government, na twakiona county ya kuria mwena wa Trans Nzoia ni ya Trans Nzoia county ni makorirwo mahetwo milioni mbeca cigutanyire milioni 20.9 ni ciakorirwo kana irakorwo gukorwo cia accounted na maya mokite tu nukurika ningi last week nituonete county ya kuria mwena wa gicwa-ini imwe ya icio aikorwo mahetwo milioni 87 na magakorwo about 19 million stironeka wega mwena wa ucio mathabu maria makorwo magitwo ni mundu witwo Nancy Gathungu niwe mwiki kana niwe horo ukona docket ya horo igie mathabu ma thirikari muno na kana niwe twitaga government auditor na ni maundu maria maragithii na mbere uthi na mbere twakiona mundu ugwitwo Gwela wins 5th term in Djibouti. Natokana Benin president 6 re-election intense poll. Na ku ni ithurano iria ciragithie kana ni mundu ugwitwo Gwela ukorwo wins 5th term in Djibouti. Na twakiona ni majirani maitu mwena wa Djibouti ni country iria cikiriganitie na bururi wa Ethiopia na Somalia hau uguo na Eritrea ni makwaniririe muno hau uguo mabũrũri maria magithii na mbere ni mari one of the Eastern African countries na twakiona magikorwo mahana na ithui no nginya twakorwo tugibuata nigetha gutigira ati twakorwo tukimenya muno tondu mwiko mwina good public relations kana ujirani mwema na mabũrũri maria mamurigicĩirie ni makoragwo mwi on good side than twakiona bũrũri wa Kenya na Somalia magithii na mbere gukorwo matekuiguana muno ni ndu uria tuga wa the maritime kuria mwena wa gicwa-ini na ngona ngathĩti no ya The Daily Nation ni turathii na mbere tumirikiriirie na ngona no twakorwo twikira gaturumo kayo thiini wa ngathĩti no wendete ya The Daily Nation we wakinya ihinda rĩa kuria ngathĩti ĩrĩa ũkoragwo ũgĩthoma korwo ukioya ngathĩti iyo uguo ko niyo tumagira nayo tumagira Standard ni tukona tukimenya yo thera tukorwo tukilika thiini wa part ino ya kere ya murumo wa mbere ya gukorwo tugithorima ngathĩti kwa ihinda rĩrĩ ngona mathaa no marathii ngona ni thaa igĩrĩ cihandĩte na ndagĩka 37 twambe tuikirie oro hanini tucokererie thutha wa ihinda rĩtarĩ coho nigetha we ukorwo warora iria rĩaku we mukawa-ini we nawe urathikiriria we na hau uguo uri ukorwo we kaundu kau kangi ukwenda gwika na ni ngoda kure tumae ningi ngoda kinya na haho nigetha njoke na maundu mangĩ maingĩ thii na mbere ukorwo uri hamwe na ithuĩ. Kunyita ugeni ro rĩngĩ mwĩroreri na ni ndacokereria ndakorwo ndakinya na hando ya mangi maingĩ nigetha njoke ndina ona mawakiri magithie kona mundu kinya ni na miti kiande kimwe uguo ndu akuite ndeto ni maundu maingĩ me record-ini uguo na ithuĩ niguo tuhana ikio ndauma na hau uguo nigetha ngoda meria tumaĩ ningi ndayo kanyamũ na hau uguo ni director mũthĩ nigetha na rũrĩmĩ rwakwa rũkorwo rwahũthũ ndĩgua ndaigua ta ndameria tũmaĩ nigetha ngoda theria tumaĩ tu ndakorwo ngĩheo na karangi tumite matunda-ini ni tumaĩ tumite matunda-ini ndukae kurigwo ni tutu ndakorwo ndakunda nikio igua ndamba kurikira hau uguo maĩ no marĩ no harĩa gũkinyĩtie ndininĩte na tũgĩthiĩ na mbere ngaigua ni uhoro uria uratukenaguo thiini wa murumo uyu wa keri kana ti murumo wa keri thiini wa part ino ya keri ya murumo wa mbere ya kurora magathĩti na thii na mbere ukorwo gitukinyira na njira ya imwe kwa imwe kuria nenda-ini cia ukinyaniria thii kuria mena ya FB etha kindu gigwitwo Nice TV wetha Nice TV ni ugutuona kuu uguo ni ukuona Maatha show iko kwa njira ya imwe kwa imwe live na uguo ukorwo gitwandikira comments ciaku ukorwo gitwandikira ndomereri ciaku nitukorwo tugithi na mbere na gucitoma na nigetha tutigire ati twakorwo tugikuhe maundu kwa njira ya imwe kwa imwe na njira iria yagirire na ndarona kuguo gakamba gakiona kwina mundu wetwo Jacinta Vinex Njoroge ni nagithi na mbere na gutwandikira comments ciake na kuguo na twakiuria acio angi nao magithi na mbere kwa magitwandikira ni tondu ni ukiui tukwira uyu wira ni waku mwiroreri ithui no kanya ukoragwo utwete twathi na mbere ukorwo twikurutira wira twihaha nigetha twagitigirira no wakimenya maria wagire ukorwo ukimenya na nigetha gutigirira no wakorwo ukimenya maundu maya mothe thii na mbere na ukorwo wikananitie na ithui nigetha ukorwo wina umenyo no ta ukuma kiri tondu ngwira haha niho Maatha show na umathaga hindi ria uhoro wi muhiu kana uthia mugunda kana kumatha haria thia kumatha kana ni mugunda waku kana ni hoteli-ini kana ni marigiti kana ni office kana ni uthia rucini hindi waroka ugukorwo ukimatha within those very morning hours let it at the mid morning hours when it between 6 and somewhere 10ish somewhere hindi ni ugukorwo ukimatha and then after that hour towards the upper part of mid morning towards midday or maybe in the mid towards afternoon nakuguo niho koraga riu uguo not generally kumatha you are maybe doing some other things tondu mwiri ni ukinyire optimum now you are going downhill the graph na riu ha nikyo tukwiraga tukorwo tukiambatania na ithu uguo turingaga ikiuma irima when it's very fresh and when it's the opportune time no to get it we are that opportunists when it comes to giving you the latest maybe the latest information na Waidi na mbere ngona thini wa gatheti no The Standard na nio tunyitite ugo rucine ruru rwa umuthi nio ya The Standard the Kenya's national the Kenya's bold newspaper nigo makoragwo makita hau uguo twakiona political why Uhuru can't afford to let go of Raila na thini tuko tukirora tu section twari no tuko tugithi na mbere kurika tugithia na mbere inside MCA war with the governors broke treasury raids state farms when grass wasn't greener abroad. My lover, my killer, a great poet once said, Oni mwadiki mwe wa mithako ino etagwo The Poets kana ya poem na poet yu nwe mwadikire u agikorwo ni athie na mbere kuga the near in blood the nearest bloody atule mukwanirie muno thini wa wendo wa thakame niguo ukoragwo kwina ginya njuragano icio guo na cia njira ya kurigana na kutondu hindi magitana ona switi na mota mau uguo nikionete adicto my lover my killer na the scary killings being witnessed today kana scary kana maundu megia njuragano ile cirathi na mbere ukorwo ciri kuo maida-ini maya ma matuku maya uguo nirathi na mbere gukorwo cikire ciuria makiria kwina andu aria manakorwo rimwe magita na babies na aria magita na rimwe juga magita na nginya daddies and actually makehumbira duveti imwe na maundu maya no maragithi na mbere gukorwo mekiriga niki urakorwo kwina njuragano icio uguo na njuragano icio uguo ni cikoretwo ciongererekete muno thiini wa society na ni maundu maria maragithi na mbere gukorwo makiyumiria na njira itagini ukurikana ona wakaiwa nginya ringi ta thigari ni cioragana na njira ikiriga na ni maundu maria makoretwo magithi na mbere na njira itagiriire tondu gutiki gikuiko kiagiriire gutaikorwo kwina any like natural way of God eliminating you in this world such things na twathi na mbere Tuju can't rule out a reunion with Ruto ni mundu wetwo mwaria munene kana no etwendaga tuga mwandiki mukaru thiini wa kuria kiamene kia Jubilee wetwo mundu wetwo Rafael Tuju na kiuria kiria kiao ni mundu wetwo Tuju no iko ina na githi na mbere gutindikithia oro kicking out of Ruto in Jubilee no gakorwo ndangihota kuregana na horo ya reunion kungikinya ati mundu ugwitwo Raila no mathi na mbere makorwo ni manyitana na mundu ugwitwo Ruto na kwa njira imwe na ire ingi ule tukiona kiama kia Jubilee githi na mbere gikuruka atwakioneka riu gitikire na hinyo gikoragwo kinaguo muno ni tondu wa urugari uragithi na mbere ukorwo kiyumiria ni tondu wa gutigana gwa ciama wakiona ringi ule wakina kiama main no konta Ruto na hamwe na mutongoria wa bururi matirakikorwo me hamwe muno in terms of actions ora turakiona na guteka mundu ugwitwo deputy president athia na mbere kuga mundu mani ngoro fatia gukorwo gika thiini wa gatiba itu ni ngorwo gika mau mangi mundu ugwitwo president kana Uhuru wa Kenyatta no acagure o mundu uri ungi o agenda gukorwo agika no akorwo ni akoragwo akiregana muno kana akoragwo akigerera haraihu muno gacira kau gaku ati ga gwitikirania na Akenya na horo actions ile cikora cikioneka gatagati gake na Uhuru wa Kenya tamakoneka tamathi na mbere me divergent than when they were from one apex in 2013, including folding the sleeves of the shirts with the same colors of ties and as well. Nikira wako kwa na hindi yoguo, it was a dual couple in politics anyway. So ithi na mbere maundu maria maragithii na mbere thiini wa bururi wa Kenya tuguthi na mbere tukimabuatagia nigetha gutigira ati twakwe ohoro uria wagiriire na njira iria yagiriire. Na right now, talking a student lives with bullet lodged in chest years after attack by militia. No ni muruto ole akora twikania koretwo ena rithathi thiini wake thutha okorwo kana thiini wa githuri thutha okorwo ni akorirwo akihurwo rithathi ni aya tukimetaga andu magitharikagira a Kenya na njira ya utoi kana ni itoi ciakorio cia kimuhura rithathio na ikorwo iri thiini wa githuri na ni ihinda ukumaendera kiurio gukinyeria riu uguo. Na twathi na mbere ukirwa why KQ is a good company na makile KQ ni kwi makoragwo mari muno mwena uria wa ukui wa guku thiini wa bururi na nja wa bururi wa Kenya hari gukorwo magitumira the airlines icitu cia the Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa. Iyo ni ikoragwo logo yao na twathi na mbere ukiona urugari uria ugithiaga na mbere gukorwo uriho na undu wa ikorwo ni uragithii na mbere gukorwo ugithii na mbere gukorwo ukiumira na njira iria itagirire tondu ngikirora kambuni ya the KQ ni ikoretwo igithii na mbere gukosa billions losses rather. Na mundu ugwitwo chairman wa board iyo niwe Michael Joseph ne ikoragwo akiuga riu nginya hatiri undu ungi angihota gukorwo agika kumana na gukorwo ati kambuni no ni ikoretwo igikorwo igithii na mbere na kumake a lot of losses. Ni kana hindi ya kuheo runi citwahirwo 255.9 billion ni ruhonge rwa ukombithania ngombo rwa ukombithania wa ngombo kuri maburuni rwa IMF. Ni makorirwo makiana some recommendation and some of the parastatals ile citarakorwo make profit thiini wa bururi wa Kenya either cikorwo cikikwo restructuring kana privatization kana means ile cikorwo cikikwo nigetha gutigia ati cikorwo cikirehe profit nigetha utigira ati bururi ndurakorwo lose a lot of million loss kana billion losses like we see in the KQ sector kana Kenya Airways kana thiini wa ruhonge rwa ukui wa gukunja na rwathja na rwa gukunja thiini wa bururi na nja wa bururi. Na tukona mbica ya uwe ya police constable Hanson Wakise shot dead na uyu ni uria ni akoragwo arari mugitiri kana ni arari one of the security persons Dr. Fred Matiang'i no niwe CS wa ugitiri wa thiini wa bururi niwe Dr. Fred Matiang'i acokera ritwa riake ringi. Na twakiona mundu ugwitwo Hanson Wakise ni atwikire wa kuhura mutumia wake rithathi na akimuraga no ritwa Pauline Wakasa na ni atwikire wa guthikwo muthenya wa iyo na waira. Na tugithiaga na mbere twakiona icio ikuo nicio cirakorwo tukiuga nicio cikwanyita katathi ka mbere my lover my killer my near in blood the near blandi na nä maå ndå meho thiini na ikuo nä cikoretwo cikiongerereka muno na njira inenehete muno na maundu mamae corona maragithii na mbere. Twakiona 1057 abuse cases recorded between January and June 2019 na ici ni cases ciaugie ohoro wigie gukorwo andu makiagarara mawatho ma aria angi. Twakiona cases icio ciakorirwo ciri 157 gatagati-ini ka January na mweri wa gatandatũ niguo twitaga June mwaka-ini wa 2019 mwaka o ucio ungi gucoka na thutha. Na twakiona ningi kuma January na June mwaka-ini o ucio kana ihinda-ini o tariu uria January 2019 ginya June 2019 ugudaka ogikwa na cases citanyire 157 na gatagati ka o mwaka-ini ta mwaka-ini uyu ungi wa 2020 ihinda-ini o tariu kuma January ginya June cases icio cieko ni ciambatite like about 2 times na cieko ni ciambatirite ginya 2032 na icio ni cases cia turathi na mbere gukorwo tugiciona guku uguo. Na tukona cases about for those cases cia 2032 81% cia cases cio ciarĩ cia athuri ũkorwo kwĩna twĩta domestic violence tũkorwo nĩ athuri ũkorwo makĩriha atumia ao haro na 19.8% were related women assaulting their husbands ya 19.8% kwari athuri o magakorwo makigia kana harass athuri ao na njira oyo yothe ikiriho na twathi na mbere thini wa karatathi gaka na thini wa gatheti ya The Standard tukona President and Raila joined at the hip despite misgivings na turakiona ni kaundu karia akoretwo kehono akiona hindi ya mwaka wa 2017 ndia kwari na uteti thini wa bũrũri wa Kenya wa gũtuithania no gũtuĩka the next president nigetha agithii na mbere gũtindĩka itĩna rĩa kerĩ ya mũtongoria wa bũrũri itĩna rĩa mbere ya mũtongoria wa bũrũri hindi yo 2017 Uhuru wa Kenyatta na hau nĩho Raila akerete mũno korwo agithii na mbere na rĩu twakiona ningĩ kuma hindi yo 2018 nĩ twakionire thutha handshake twakiona Uhuru no makĩrĩa hamwe na mũndũ wĩtwo Uhuru mũndũ wĩtwo deputy wake nĩwe Raila Ruto na rĩu kwa ihinda rĩrĩ no tũrakiona mathiĩte na mbere gũ sideline na mbica ĩ haha twakiona nĩ ĩrĩa yarĩ kũrĩa mwena wa thingira wa ĩrĩ hindi ya kũrugũria BBI ĩrĩa mbere nĩ ĩtagwo Bomas One mathekete mũno na twakiona mũndũ ũgwĩtwo Ruto he's not finding anything laughing matter in that twakiona arorete oro mbere no akiona ndaiganĩrĩte mũno na nĩ thogĩ korwo ni sidelined in a way na twakiona mbica ĩrĩa gũkwĩrĩte tũkenjiria thĩinĩ wa The Standard twakiona mũndũ ũgwĩtwo Tuju and why he might not 100% say he will not reunite with Deputy President William Ruto and especially tukiona ũrĩa kũragĩthiĩ na mbere gũkorwo hihi bagĩthiĩ na mbere makorwo nĩ marĩkania kana mathi na mbere na kũrĩka na gũtonya na makĩria mũndũ wĩtwo Raila Odinga, the former prime minister and the current party leader of ODM. Mind you, he is also the flag bearer come 2022. It's now confirmed. Nĩ kuga hihi no makorwo makĩnyitana mũndũ wĩtwo Deputy President William Ruto na to ũguo tu makorwo magĩthondeka coalition na ũguo hakĩoneka hihi mũndũ wĩtwo Secretary General wa Jubilee nĩwe tũragĩta kana Secretary General of Jubilee Party nĩwe tũragĩta Raphael Tuju no eyone hihi acenjetie ũndũ ũguo ũndũ ũcio na ũguo agagĩkorwo hihi agĩkĩoneka tangĩcenjia na tũragĩthiĩ na mbere twakĩona millions of books gather dust as supply beats demand na COVID-19 ni kireta maundu maingi muno nginya oro kũringa sector ya gĩthomo na njĩra ya mwanya muno so people kana thikũ ici ũguo akora andũ gĩbatirakĩgũra mabuku ũrĩa gwakoragwo kũhana hau gabere tondũ nginya wa economy ũkorwo nĩ ikũrũgĩte na njĩra ya thĩ muno and maybe those who are doing it and maybe those who are financially a bit stable are not touched so much by COVID na ũguo akĩoneka kwĩna that issue no bado maũndũ marĩa tũkĩrĩ namo thĩinĩ wa ngathĩti ĩyo ya The Standard karatathi ka 17 na twathiĩ na mbere twakiona thĩinĩ wa gatuni ka o mũthĩ twakiona M7 nĩguo korwo kũritũ kwĩho kũnene wetu kwambararĩtie na kwĩna register kwĩna label ĩrathoma M7 na twakiona kaigĩtwo ũguo kanyitĩte mũndũ ĩyo na tũrona nĩ Econ na ena nyororo yake hau ũguo na nete kĩmero hau ũguo no kwanĩra aranĩrĩra twakiona sing with me ntaone mũini twakiona rĩgĩtwo Econ na ũguo thutha rĩtwa Econ ũraringithania nĩ ta kĩrarĩrĩria ũhoro wake haho kana nĩ ta atĩa kana nĩ ta wagĩkorwo wĩ hau ũguo aigĩrwo ko igũrũ ũguo na twakiona sing with me Africa does not need democracy inani no rungu rwake na hoto ni kamundu kae kaigĩrĩirwo haho igũrũ na gekete microphone ũguo na gũkũ rungu rwake tũrakiona kwĩna a lot of heads ũguo nĩ kuga kwĩna andũ me rungu rwake na nĩwe arakorwo akiuga atĩ inani rwĩmbo rũretwo atĩ Afrika gũtirabatara gũkorwo kwĩna ũhoro wĩgiĩ kwĩyaria na njĩra ĩyo kana ũhoro wĩgiĩ democracy nĩ thĩinĩ wa karathi ka 19 thĩinĩ wa ngathĩti ĩno ya The Daily Nation no to ya The Standard gikucoka muhera The Standard paper tugithii na mbere ngona ire tu no rithiĩte na niĩ ngona ĩyo nĩ sector ĩrĩa ĩkĩrĩ ho ĩngĩ na tũtikorwo tũkĩmĩhutia mũno twakiona thĩinĩ wa The World new book asks why world ignores Kagame repression. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, a new book questions why some in the international community continues to praise him despite repression. Na nifiko ira kionania ati niki giki koretwo kio gitumaga mundu gwitwo Paul Kagame no president wa kuria bururi wa Rwanda na ni ukiu ni bururi mwa maria mari thiini wa ngwataniro ya Eastern Africa na ndira irakionania uria bururi ukoretwo ugithine kindu gitwa repression kana gucoka na thutha o riria akoretwo agitugirio muno na gukorwo agikungwirwo muno thiini wa mabururi mayo uguo na ni mararingithania maybe his successes and his failures as Kagame na twakiona horo COVID-19 EU and COVID when vaccine only adds to the trouble na ni kiwi vaccine no kora gitu na mbere ukorwo gituika na maraithwika no twenigetha or reactions ilia cikoretwo kana reactions ilia cikoretwo cikirekererio ni andu matiganite kumana na hihi side effects ya vaccines icio kuma kuria gitaro kia Ruraya makona marikiriria gucithurima na mona ati ni mastikoretwo cina effects ilia cikoretwo ciki allegewo kana ilia cikoretwo cikirikana nicio cirakorwo cikigomera andu kumana na gukorwo makimundwo cindano ya the COVID-19 jab kuria mabururi ma Ruraya na gukinyeria ugakorwo ngikira kangongo gaturuma tikangongo mundu witagwo wa Kimemu na uyu ni wokorwo giturehera metha ya mathako muthenya wa Jumamothi kuma mathaa ma thaa mugwanja kana thaa 8 ya nginya thaa 9:30 ano wokorwo giturehera tabariro egie horo wa mathako na we niwe njiguaga agitwira orwa tungongori na nikanya mukale kira gori tole ku konta to ta thiongo hau guo ngongori niko gato ngongori no kau waturumo ni dot na uno ndakorwo gikira that dot thiini wa mururumo uyu wa mbere wa gukorwo ati twako tugithurima magatheti maitu na ndarora thaa yakwa ndahukira ngona ihandite thaa ithatu itigitie ndagika 4 na ritu uko tugitonya thiini wa mururumo wa keri thutha wa ihinda inini tu tuko tuikiria na tuko tukira ndumiriri cigano na cia onjori tondu wa bills na haria nigetha nawe wewe na uhoro ucio wakwenda gukorwo kirathirio wira waku ukorwo ugiuka guku gwitu nigetha tukorwo tugigutangathithia ka tugitangatha wira waku kana tuko tuyugutambia gikiro kingi kuri gukinyiria ndumiriri iyo yaku ya wira waku kuri andu aria makoragwo magiuka gukorwo magitonyana nawe kana gukorwo me inroads nawe thiini wa biashara noguo ni kuga we wakorwo kiona namba ya gibugu 728 kibugu ni gukorwo kianani na the accounts department aria mario kwina aithwi guku gwitu kwa Maatha na makiria guku gwitu kwa Next TV ratha nigetha ukorwo ugitetheka na njira iyo ya gukorwo ugitambia wira waku gitaro kiu kana gikiro kiu kingi ukoretwo ukiriria gukorwo wikio na tugicoka tuko makiria tukirora just aka snippet aka section o kaundu kacio kucamithio kaundu kanini makiria thiini wa omothe ni ukio ni gukorwo kwina uhoro wigi guthurima who is the next chief justice na ni uhoro le ukorwo githina mbere thutha ni ukio ruhonge rwa mawatho ku thiini wa bũrũri kana tuta ruhonge rwa ucirithania ni tuta judicial JSC kana the judiciary ni maragibatara gukorwo mena mundu ugicoka iratu-ini cia mundu ugitwo the former chief justice David Kenani Maraga na nigetha mundu ugitwo chief justice wikuo eherio no ya deputy tuko tukiruta wira na kindu igana kwa igana kana letwa igana kwa igana ti kindu letwa igana kwa igana tigo tumira DJ rutuko tugitumira DJ ikarania na nie kana ikarania na ithu kwa Maatha show ne ndiracokereria oguo ikarite ikaro oguo ona mutunduka guthi kuinainia ne ndiracokereria ngugire kanyama naha tuke kurehere
no mathiko maundira niguo turabangite ri gutiri mundu wa thitima haro Jimmy wajirire no ona mundu ngiturehera macini tondu muthuri ucio watumirwo hindi wengi okire na kindu mwari utangigutha kihike gwe agiuka na speaker agirite thani thaburia mathiko ni maru ucio tutigathikana nigu twara ukuri tutigathikana na andu acio muraiga ni mwamanete deposit na tondu riu mundu ucio ndiramuhurira thimu na ndarawena ni mwamanete macini na mathiko ni rucio ri mundu atatugeka atia riu mubangite tugacamba andu acio othe magoka kuu mubangite tugacamba mundu ucio ndiramuhurira thimu araria uria kwenda na ndiramenya uria tugwika na mathiko ni rucio haro muhurire mathiko ni rucio utanjira ka mathiko tutigeka tondu wa macini ai hanini nyambe njari na mukurino we haha hanini no tafadhali mathiko ni rucio na ni turabatara nginya macini
Muru niki gya kurakaria ugo
ndaita niguo ndi murakari muno rucio kwina mathiko na guko mucie tafadhali ndukahunjiri thaa ici
ona tikihunjio ndeiguo gitangika niki
mathiko mekuo rucio na turabatara macini kiharo mundu uria turathika mucie ni mundu urari na ki na ngumo riu twathirie mundu ungi microphone ingi hau na macini aturehire microphone nginya waringaga uguo mahiga makauma na already mundu ni ahetwo mbeca cia macini agatira na hindi wengi endetio macini
na riko ni turonanite nawe mbere
niki
ai gukiri kundu ndateithikire muno na andu mangiguteithia piu
hau ni ndona ngata turateithania riu
kundu ngiteithika piu ngukuhe namba yao nginya thaa ici
atiriri
mena macini ciothe
macini njega
piu
si tondu kuria turabangira gwikira mathiko ri ni kiharo kiega kinene uguo kinene
marehaga macini haria uri mena macini cia uthoni cia iruga inene cia mathiko ta mau mwinamo igongona o riothe ungikorwo wina rio ni mari itana kwa namba ni kambuni njega muno ti ati ni andu o uguo ni andu mena nginya kambuni nene piu etagwo Nice Media Services ni kambuni tisi cia mundu kiumbere hagirwo uguo ni andu mangiguteithia
atiriri tutanathie muno ri no cioneke rucio
ti rucio ngukwe namba yao oro riu wina thimu nyita
07
andika 07 28 7 88 6 likia na gifugu
mugwanja
iyo
igiri inyanya
iyo
mugwanja inyanya inyanya ithathatu na ithathatu
mena macini ciothe nginya MC menake hau ukareherwo nginya na bei ni bacirire ona utambite gutuma onaki mwarie nao macini ugacikora hau uguo hura thimu yo
tondu ni wahe namba ri reke nyambe hura thimu na muci
hura
Nice Media Services aheani a motungata ma public address system mena packages ta silver package, bronze package, gold package na platinum package o kuringana na mabataro ma igongona riaku uria reigana na thiini wa package icio ciothe hena backup generator oho ni maheanaga motungata ma umemerekia wa emwe kwa emwe kuhitukira nenda-ini niyo live streaming hahoro makiria hura thimu namba 0728 0728 788 660
ndateithika muno mukurindo ohana murenda kai thank you
Nice Media Services. Quality, powerful, nice sound is our priority.
Karibu sana mwiroreri gakena muno ni tondu wonyitaniri waku ni tondu wa uguo tuthiete na mbere gukorwo turi hamwe nawe na ni thiini wa murudumo witu wa gatatu uyu wa Monday kana uyu wa Jumatatu ino ya mweri 12 mwaka wa 2021 twaithi na mbere gukorwo tukenete muno tondu wa kunyitanira gwaku na ithui nigetha tukorwo tugithi na mbere gutirithania ni tondu tukwiraga ithui nawe twana ikinya na thi ni tondu twaranaga imwe kwa imwe nigetha tugatigira ati twakorwo tugikuhe maundu na njira iria yagiriire na nigetha gutigira ati ndunakorwo ukihitukirirwo kana ndunakorwo ukiakumenya niki kirathi na mbere na nigetha ukorwo we on the top list of those who have the know na ntuthia na mbere gukuria ugagithi na mbere ukorwo gitwandikira nigetha watwandikira na ithu twakorwo tugithoma ndumiriri ciaku na njira iria yagiriire na toguo tutoguthoma tu twakorwo reach out nigetha we wakorwo twandikira na guku twakorwo tugifuatira mo nigetha tugatigira tondu tabarira ino ikorwo ita na that interaction ugikorwo ugitonyana na ithu na wakorwo ugitwariria na ithu nigetha twakorwo tukimenya ati uyu niguo undu uri ugukorwo ukienda twakorwo tukiariria rigi ta muthenya wa umuthi kana the contribution ciaku ni undu uriku uyu ungera ukorwo tukorwo tugitonyana naguo to rigi no ukorwo rigi kwina issue ire na wenda ukorwo rigi you just raise alarms na tukorwo tukira maundu mau uguo nto tuga this is your program ithui kira twikaga ha no ufuatira tukorwo tugifuatira muno nigetha twakorwo tutikorwo twiha ithuothe na ithu to tukino menyo wa tuko twika mota mau twako twika research ya modo mothe twako twikurehera ohoro na njira iria yagirire guku kuma njikarite haha metha-ini ino ya Maatha show oro muthenya kuma Monday nginya Friday kuma thaa 2 nginya thaa 3:30 na ya twako twigutaria twakuonia ka twateithia guguteithia gutaukwo ni maundu aria maikarite na ni thiini wa Maatha show na ni thiini wa mirumo mwanya iria tukoragwo twinayo o tugithiaga na mbere thiini wa mirumo wa mbere kaingĩ na kaingĩ tukoragwo tukirora magatheti na twakorwo tukirikiriria uhoro ucio na riu uria tweka kwa ihinda rĩrĩa tukorwo tugitonya thiini wa mirumo wa keri na thiini wa mirumo uyu wa kendi tukorwo tukirora tuna ritho rimwe uguo niga tukorwo tukioya kindu gitagwo parallel igo andu makiuga okorwo ukiga gabiru parallel jana magika uguo na ritho rimwe uguo na angi magakoma na nda angi makigaga mihaka nigetha tukorwo tugiikia ritho kabiru na nigetha tukorwo tugiikia kabiru kundu gugwitwo JSC kana anemeto the Judicial Service Commission na ruru niwe ni ruhonge rwa gatatu rwa thirikari ruria rukorwo rukidiri na kindu gitagwo mawatho guku bururi-ini na riu urueno uragithii na mbere ni thengi muno Bishop Kim Gachuma oro hamwe na mundu ugwitwo Blessed Joy Bruce Bruce I don't know whether you is pronounced as A or it's just Bruce can you gakiona na maragithi kuga na maragithi na mbere kuga me tuned na gakena muno ntondu wa undu ucio. All of you are commenting even on Twitter na kule Twitter ni @NiceTV Kenya kukibe ni Arudan kana @dankama 231 ugi search yo no unyone kugitwarikira comments yaku no tuko tugicithoma oro tugithiaga na mbere ningi tuli kwa njira ya imwe kwa imwe kuria mwena wa YouTube ungirika kuguo ni gutuona twika gutonya subscribe in that account as we move ahead. Actually niga twatini nginya the number of subscription ni twiko tukienda na twakwenda tu nigetha tondu ni ria nginya ugikorwo ukienda tondu ino ni yaku TV ithu tuyatole ngura kaingĩ na kaingĩ uko tuki what do you call that steering nigetha twitigire ati ni wakona yo kigwatirwo ni uhoro uria wagiriire kana wakorwo wa kwigwatira kana wakorwo ukiona uhoro na njira iria yagiriire oro tugithiaga na mbere na ngakiona kwa ihinda riri thini wa murumo wake ndakorwo ngikwira tukorwo tukirora uhoro wa kuria gwitwo the JSC ni ukiui kuria JSC ni kurakana kuri wari wikuo na ni ukione thutha okorwo mundu wetagwo former Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga who was a Seventh Day Adventist wa kanitha wa Jumamothi ni akorirwo akihuruka wira January 12 mwaka-ini uyu wa 2021 na riu ni kumana na yuko ni wetegete kiu uguo thutha kuma miaka-ini ya 2016 na ni ukioi oka uguo ni akoretwo ena a record change ya irogero rwa ucirithania nukurikana nginya hinde ria guteaniria githurano thiini wa 2017 na tugituika twarikire ogucoka ringi thiini wa irefe tuikorwo turi aria matakirite atano thiini wa thi aria manakorwo mateanirie githurano kiao na thiini wa Afrika tuikorwo turi a mbere na mundu wetagwo David Kenani Maraga no ari the CJ then na nukurikana ateanirie githurano giki kuma na kire augire the process is as good as the end results. Na ogu aikorwo akiuga ti ati ni numbers shell na issue but the process ya to transmit results ni shell na issue. Now akiuga because the process is as well as the method you use that process the method you use to relay can communicate those results. The issue was not the numbers, the issue was that way of relaying, that process, that move from the actual way of doing votes cast na kuma uguo nigituke ni athi ni cia taruka ni cia toro kuria ni cia korwo she summed up then wa polling stations kuma cio cigitoro at the summing point iko ni cia toro at the constituency levels and such things na mwisho ko ni cia tabio ginya the National Tallying Center na augire that process nigetha kon to attain the end result akiuga now the process is as good or as meaningful as end result. Now akiuga this process, however the number were good, the process wasn't good, and therefore if A, which should work 100% with B, was not okay, then to him ukorwo mwena A ikiruta wira kwa wega na B akorwo ndi nafata the protein in your result bin your process cost na Maatha na wega na B shakoshike read into an apex, into a common point, then that thing was not okay, and on that basis he nullified the presidential polls or the presidential election of 2013 I mean of 2017 na odo ogetumano atumire bururi wa be okorwo win a lot of talks, temperatures, wiko ginya utetino ani taba kuinaina gusheki ni kuriga ginya mundu witwo mutongoria wa bururi akiuga we obey, we respect the decision of the Supreme Court, but we shall revisit. Kanto gacokera ntuko tukirora undu ucio guo na ni kwari na a lot of issues kana kwari na miario meige muno agukiringithania uhoro wa gutwika ati kana urugari uria urakoretwo yo ni ukurikana ruhonge rwa ucirithania guko bururi ni makoretwo marengeirwo billions cigana na eta budget ya igoti kana eta ruhonge rwita kana mbeca icio cita budget ya ruhonge rwa ucirithania guko bururi ni kana budget ya makoro makeo na marengeirwo mbeca icio guo ri mundu ugwitwo David Kerani Marani akorirwo aika kindu gitao a lot of outcry kana akorirwo akirira muno nigetha akorwo kana akorirwo ai complain muno nigetha mbeca icio tie kurengwo kana nigetha mbeca icio cikorwo cigicokio nigetha ruhonge rwa ucirithania ruheo enough engine na ruheo enough force ya gukorwo magithi na mbere gukorwo magika kana discharge mawira ma magoti na njira ire yagirire na nitwonire kundu gutiganite gukirugamio na okona ginya mashira mamwe ne mathina benda kurugamio thutha okona kwa proposal majaji maigana ona maria mabati okorwo mathulmitwo na makorwo makinengerwo na mbe gwi president nigetha akorwo akimetikiria kana akorwo akiapel sign ati na akorwo akimetikira no mutongori wa buri akorwo akimarega na kiria kiareo ni uhoro ati ni makorwo matari a good record na record iyo guo ikorwo ni agitumire mae kuhetukio undu uyu kuonekanaga hihi tari still the whip of the executive over the judiciary on we shall revisit narrative na maundu mameko no magithii na mbere ukorwo mariho na riu kiuria kikoragwo gigithii na mbere kana undu ria wakorwo gigithii na mbere ni ati what was the relationship na ni ukurikana hindi yo githurano giatuika gia guteanirio twatuika tuli agucokera ringi mundu wetagwo David Kerani Maraga. He was on the public glare, bakiria on the media side. We who cover these things, especially on the ground level. Now, the question that as well started coming out, is it that his democratic right, which of course he has, because he's Kenyan 100%, and as well he's the Chief Justice. Na, then have a new process. Now I think you have some trust with the process, because if in the main national I overturned the polls, I overturned the election of the president-elect, then in this second round, then kura issue nishiukorwo transmitwo kana process na end result nishiukorwo cigifuatirwo na njira ya mwanya muno. However, there was low turn up kana turn out ya voters ni tondu wa okorwo aingi matikagiria kura kuria makoragwo mari. So those transports here and there andu ma icon macokete mawira. However, it was like a national day ya uikia kura, then there was still low turn up kana the turning out of the voters yale low compared to the main polls. Na nikurikana ginya kiama kia ODM hedi oguo and they were very happy actually upon nullification ya kia mundu weta Uhuru wa Kenyatta, the presidents between him now and Ruto in the Jubilee ticket. Na undu ucio ikorwo agithi na mbere ukunguirwo muno kana ukenereirwo muno ni andu megwitwo ODM na ni ukurikana indo ni mundu ugwitwo Raila Odinga no wari candidate ndio munini wake Kalonzo Musyoka oro hamwe na indo mind the NASA coalition, the NASA hao na twakiona odo no akereirwo muno na oni makodo mari agosucia kana makorio magifofeit kana makorio makiuga matiguthi na mbere ukorwo magi participate then you are the repeated presidential election o mwaka-ini ucio guo na maundu maya no turakiona no magithie na mbere ukorwo mekuo kwa ihinda na ni wakinya handu ginya githurano kigali kia gwiko o matiumirire ona gutuika bado mundu wetwa Uhuru wa Kenyatta hamwe na mundu wetwa deputy president wa William Ruto ni makodo magicagorwo bado with landslide na undu akioneka hihi na njira mwe kana area ingi ni wakuri ukirehe some stumbling block or a relationship between the executive and the judiciary. Na undu wakionekana wathi na mbere ukorwo ugitheruka muno. Riu thutha ihinda ria mundu gwitwo David Kenani marakorwo ni aritaire mwaka-ini uyu mweri 12 niguo akorirwo akihuruka wira wake kana ukorwo akituika wa kuritaya. Na ndakorirwo maybe seek for the second round. We nionekana nginya tanogete ni ukurikana nginya akiuga ni kuma ni proposal Uhuru wa Kenyatta that our national parliament should be disbanded on point that augaga our parliament, which is the legislature arm of the government, lutirakinya threshold ire yagirire kiwatho ni tondu agokorwo o matira obey the 2/3 gender rule ya gokorwo that gutiga gokorwo kwina an exceeding number ya more than 2/3 gender methini wa bunge at oko ni andu at methini wa bunge iyo guo kana ntuge ntandu 10 about a third of that must be on the of this gender, like female gender, and now the 2/3 must be on the male gender. No within one bunge to kuonekaga more of 2/3 gender rule, they korago more than 2/3 of one sex. Kana one gender rather, let me say one gender. Neo makoretwo mari thini wa bunge. No wekwa proposal president wa Kenyatta atanauma ekoro egifujwo na declare unconstitutional. No wone kuwa drahigia mawatho maria magi gukorwo mari kiwatho. Na tondu ara mutongoria wa bururi amwandikagira eta chief justice na nio chief justice constitutional ni akoragwo ena wira wa gukorwo aki-advise the executive na makire the president on the move to take. Na nio kiwe nake mundu wito mutongoria wa bururi wa Kenyatta. No gukorwo ni haina that ni kuoneka hata kwina some rough relationship gatagati gake na mundu gwitwo Maraga in what was seemingly appearing in the public glare. Maundu maya maikon mathi na mbere na riu ona akiuga mundu gwitwo Maraga akiuma uguo, it was seen as a final hot nail on a fresh scar. Na uguo ni kuga we athia na mbere ku recommend that this is actually what I still hold. Na in one of the celebrations and nigulika agishogera oro udu na akiuga if it was something if you want one thing to be done, it is to dissolve this parliament because it's unconstitutional until idamakinya hadu Maatha roho ruigie akana watho oyu wetagwo wa 2/3 gender rule na nio roho uguo roshirithania rukorwo rugithondeka mawatho na mawatho mari makorwo magifuatirwo makena ku effectwo makiri roho rwa mawatho ni twitaga the judiciary. Na riu kuma hindi yo guo tondu wa that process iyo nio yukite itwaririire gukorwo mundu ugwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru akorwo I don't know what chief deputy chief justice na auma mundu ogwitwo Kenani Maraga ni atigire mundu ogwitwo chief justice kana deputy chief justice ni wetwa Philomena Mbete Mwiru ukorwo ale the acting chief justice of the JSC kana of the judiciary. Na leo maundu mono magikoretwo maithite na mbere ni ukurikana ni anakorwo ena macira maria manakorwo mamugomeire na eko represented igoti-ini ni mundu gwitwo Fred Gatia, one of the senior counsels. Na otogithiaga na mbere twakiona riu ni ihinda ringi riho ria gukorwo tugithura who is the next chief justice, because within a window of 6 months upon the incumbent judge ukoni retire kana because of some other issues akorwo ni ehera no akorwo maybe because of when not incapacity to do that can resign kana because of maybe national natural reasons like death or such things, or maybe so he can't be able to deliver or she can't be able to deliver as the CJ. What happened to us was because of retirement of the then incumbent chief justice David Kenani Maraga. Now dushin go atwarire mundu witwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru ukorwo at the current acting chief justice na nigetha gutiga tukiuga oro acting tukamwita the deputy chief justice who is now the chief justice in acting na riwe akoni wonyitirire ruhongero rwa magoti. Now within this window of 6 months and kwagirire gukorwo twikinya mweri wetandatu tukorwo twina mundu ogwitwo chief justice who is there constitutionally na mundu uria ukwetukira through this vetting process ya ukorwo ni athurimwo na akorwo ni onekana ni agirire gukorwo ari chief justice wa ruhongero rwa mawatho thini wa bururi wa Kenya kana ruhongero rwa ucirithania. Na magithiaga na mbere gwakorwo kwina mundu ogwitwo Murgol, na Murgol ni omwe wa aria makoretwo mareganite na ohoro wa tondu mundu ogwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru ari the acting chief justice ne ukorwo ari thini wa bench kana ukorwo at the one of the panel ya aria me ukorwo magithii na mbe na ukorwo magithurima aya kenda kana aya 10 aria me ukorwo ni 10 aria marabae for this position aria me ukorwo magithurimwo kana aria me ukorwo magitoro through a serious screening kana to the vetting process na nigetha thutha wa interviews ici ciothe aya 10 makorwo makimenyeka who is this person who will emanate as the best option for the panel na uguo ni kuga aya atatu aria ningi me ukorwo magikorwo ni mahotana the top the topmost are the three topmost of the proposed by the panel ni me ukorwo magitoro kuri mutongoria ni me ukorwo magitoro kuria bunge nigetha na makorwo magithurimo thutha ucio ritwa ria rikuhetukire kwa gitwaro he mutongoria wa buri na akorwo akiuga ni etikiria na undu ucio ukorwo ugithii na mbere na riu mundu ugwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru tondu akorwo ena cira uria wamugomeire wa gukorwo hihi ni anakorwo aregete gukorwo agikorwo akievirikana gukorwo akiurira kindu gitagwo kuriha magoti kana kuriha igoti undu no akorwo ukire a lot of temperatures considering we ni judge kana we ni one of the senior most judges of the Supreme Court na toro uguo tu ni tondu wa gukorwo ni representirwo ni mundu ugwitwo Fred Gatia eta wakiri wake na ni uki mundu ugwitwo Fred Gatia ni umwe wa aria mari thiini wa list ino ya aya 10 marira gutwika the next chief justice wa ikore wota kuroneka ni uko kwina kindu kietwo conflict of interest na undu niguo twaririre mundu ugwitwo Murgor no ari the former DPP director of public prosecution kana uria ukoragwo rugamirire ohoro igie cira kana kwerekeria cira wa muingi na niwe tumwitaga DPP ni uki wathe cine Nurdin Haji riu niwe wa hindi yo no wa DPP of then mundu witwo Murugol kahinda kariho na we ni akoretwo athite na mbere na gutwara undu uyu igoti nigetha gukorwo akiregana na mundu ugwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru gukorwo agikara thiini wa committee kana thiini wa panel ino igukorwo igithurima aya 10 na we ni umwe wa acio 10 na ugakorwo akiuga ni gukorwo kwina kindu kietwo conflict of interest gatagati ka mundu ugwitwo Philomena Mbete Mwiru who is one of the panelists na mundu ta Fred Gatia uria ni client ka uria we niwe wa mu representative thiini wa macira maya make no gwakioneka ta kwina kwina kaunta ka uguo no akorwo ni undu ucio arakorwo akiregana naguo na o tugithiaga na mbere twakiona ni maundu maya marathi na mbere gukorwo magitheruka na maragithi na mbere gukorwo magitheruka ni tondu giki ni kimwe kia iria nene muno ni ukuririkana mundu witagwo Nelson Havi niwe chairperson wa kiama kia LSK kana ni urumwe wa mawakiri thiini wa bururi wa Kenya na mundu ugwitwo Nelson Havi ni andikire marwa rũhonge rũrũ rwa JSC ni andikire marũa kana ni apenire what we call penning into a paper kana ni akorirwo akiandika marũa kuri JSC akiregana na mundu ugwitwo kana akiregana na gukorwo ati amwe aya atatu aria nio mundu ugwitwo Mr Murgor mundu ugwitwo Professor Patricia Kameri Mbote oro hamwe na mundu witagwo Justice Maatha Koome akiuga ati ni who he claimed were not suitable to serve as chief justice kana aria akorirwo akiandika marwa kuri JSC nigetha kuga kana akiuga ati ndikire kwetukira marwa akiuga ati matikoretwo mena record njega muno no ugo matiagirire agukorwo mari the next chief justice ogwo the three of them were to be removed na undu uyu wiko no are temperature already ni gukoretwo kwina a lot of temperature thiini wa kiama ikio kiama wakini kio twita the Law Society of Kenya and kio gitagwo LSK na twakiona kwina urugari ucio ukoretwo ugithie na mbere ni ukoretwo kwina a lobby group thiini wa kiama gikio iria ikoretwo nginya disbandete mundu ugwitwo Nelson Havi na kuga ndagirire gukorwo akiari on behalf of LSK na undu no atumire aria metagwo the council ni kuri na committee ya mawakiri thiini wa kiama gikio kia LSK akiria giakorirwo gigithie na mbere the LSK disputed the claim in a letter kana makorio makiandikira ruhonge rwa JSC na ruo marwa kiama gikio ndirakwira ikoretwo kiri ta committee thiini wa kiama kia LSK kana gikia urumwe wa mawakiri thiini wa bururi wa Kenya na makorirwo makiandika marwa kuri JSC kuregana na maandiko maria maandikitwo ni mundu gwitwo Nelson Havi akiuga atatu cio ndaguthomera ni matagi kana makoretwo mena record itagiri na makorirwo makiandika marwa na kwandikira JSC gugwetwo ndakwira makerekera JSC kuga ati aya atatu ni makoretwo mena wari kana makoretwo matari na ona matari na karoro oro na kamwe na mundu megie gukorwo mena miturire yao na makiria gukorwo matari na record igemaine na horo ikiruta ungumania horo ye maybe bribery horo ye mota moguo ni makoretwo mari atheru muno na iyo yari miario kwetukira marwa maria marakorio mandikitwo ni the council ino ya LSK makiregana na miario ya mundu gwitwo Nelson Havi na otugithiaga na mbere undu no akorirwo ukire urugari ni tondu wa ukorwo ati nĩ mathi na mbere ukorwo makiandika thiini wa marũa mau o ati mundu ugwitwo Nelson Havi ndari na hinya o wothe wa gukorwo akiandika marũa handu-ini ha kiama ikio kia mawaki nikio gitagwo LSK nigetha akorwo akiandikira JSC na kuga atatocio matiagirire na makorwo makiuga ati kuringana na our lobby group kana maetwo hindi ya pending the lobby's annual general meeting kana thiini wa macemanio wao wa oro mwaka ni makorirwo makiregana na uhoro ati mundu ugwitwo Nelson Havi niwe ni andikire ni afati gukorwo akiaria on behalf of LSK no we called afati gukorwo akiaria on behalf of LSK ni kuga ndagirire gukorwo akiandika marũa maya gukorwo akiregana na atatocio ndakorwo githomera hau uguo kabere na JSC makioneka kana undu lebonekire ta JSC makondo makiaga kana makiregana na uhoro uyu wa lobby group ino kana thini wa maundu mamandikitwo kana thini wa aya amwe thini wa kiama wakiri kia LSK ukorwo no magite mundu gwitwo Nelson Havi ndakoretwo kana ndagirire gukorwo agikorwo akiaria handu-ini ha LSK na undu wa ikono uragithie na mbere ukorwo ugitheruka na undu ucio ni watumire JSC hi makorwo na magiteanire maundu moto no hano ka handikitwo the JSC has opted kana uguo niguo kwari at JSC ni ma optire kana JSC kana Judicial Service Commission makorirwo makiregana na uhoro ucio wakorirwo ugithiuruka ni makorirwo makiregana na uhoro ucio na uguo magithi na mbere na ukorwo magipublish magithi na mbere na magikorwo ni mateanire uhoro ucio wa mundu gwitwo Nelson Havi na magikorwo magithi na mbere na ukorwo aya 10 kana aya atatu acio ndakorwo ngiguthomera mundu ugwitwo Murugoro hamwe na mundu gwitwo Patricia Camerian cithia we ni prof ro hamwe na ni Camerian Botet to be specific ro hamwe na mundu gwitwo Maatha Kome who is a justice na o magikorwo ni mekorwo mari amwe aya 10 na otugithia na mbere twakiona the JSC opted to ignore the controversy surrounding kana JSC rongero rwa ucirithania ka rwa JSC no akorwo githi na mbere ukorwo rukiigino kana rugikorwo rukihuthia kana guteaniria miario iyo ya urugari ure ukoretwo ugithi na mbere thiini wa kiama iki kia urumwe wa mawaki nikio twita LSK o maya magithiaga na mbere mekorwo makihonjwo magithi na mbere kuhungo mauri ni kuhonjwo anyway technically ni meguthi na mbere ukorwo magithi na mbere na guthurimwo magithi na mbere na kuhungo mauri magithi na mbere na ukorwo makihinywo o kuigana nigetha moneke urugari wao how thick skinned are they in terms of even holding this senior most office in the in one of the arms of the government actually nigetha gutigirira undu no akorwo ugithi na mbere na njira iria yagirire mayo magithiaga na mbere kwa ihinda riri nginya hindi aya 10 mekurikia gukorwo magithurimwo ririkana ni undu ukorwo ugithi na mbere kwa ihinda ririkana our timeline ni by mweri wa 3 tukorwo twina the next chief justice uria gukorwo kwagirire na otugithiaga na mbere twakiona riu ona Kenya no maragithi na mbere gukorwo makiuri akorwo wewe na kaundu winako wewe na kaundu ui ona akorwo mune ukorwo ahetukitwo ni JSC twara marwa maku bado kuri uguo he kuria megukorwo makidropo wewe present fata ikorwo ni authentic case na fata ukorwo ni undu ramenya uri urauga na undu wina record cia kuigana nigetha makorwo bado makiutumira wita one of the reasons ufati ukorwo we crystal clear we umwe wale megukorwo the next chief justice na maya no maragithie na mbere twakirwo kana twakorwo twina umenyo kana twina utauku ati uri ukoretwo ukimenyeka kana ni nice TV ukorwo mathorimite na makorwo makimenya uhoro ucio ati Kenyans aria megukorwo magitwara undu ucio kana recommendation ciao kurigana na hi umwe wa aya aria megukorwo hi mundu agitwara ralama cia kuria kana akorwo agithi na mbere gwikia mateta ati hi ng'ani na akoretwo awete Google hi anakorwo ikona hi nio ikaine ena kaungumania anakorwo enako ndafati ukorwo aikoni kwandika maundu muno ko wina a good record utware kuri ogu of course we protected so ndiko kiliko so much of information ni ugukorwo ukimenyeka na maundu mamenyeka mundu uria kana whoever was maybe even seen as the best na hako na a good reason eronania nima ena kaundu kena ka sport katari kage kana ena karoro katagirire ne okorwo akieherio na undu wa ikono gugithie na mbere gukirorwo na ni maundu maya maragithie na mbere kuma muthenya wa umuthi no tugithie na mbere ukorwo tugifuatira nigetha tuigue maundu maria maragithie na mbere ukorwo megetheruka mwena ucio ni ukiuwi ruhonge ni ruhonge rukorwo very sensitive na ni ukiuwi no ragithie ruguciria nginya ateti matiganite ni ukiuwi the responsibility or the role that the judiciary majorly the Supreme Court kana igoti ria thuburimu likoragwo play kana wira uria rikorwo rikiruta makiria hindi ya anytime we have an election and especially the senior most position githitini gia president ni ukiuwi Kenya ucagura maita meri mostly that's what it has technically appeared to be atwacagura through normal way no nginya urorio kuri igoti-ini to kuri andu meguthie kuga nducaguritwo na njira iria yagirire like we saw in 2013 and the way you saw in 2017 na maundu na 207 as well twakiona maundu makoragwo magithie na mbere uguo ni kindu kiria kiraguciria muno nginya ateti these senior guys who want or maybe these senior politicians who really want to be there in 2022 as presidential candidates or flag bearers of their respective parties ni mabatie gukorwo ni makane manakorwo makina makiuna ritho muno and they have got their weight because you know the weight the influence of what you call political influence as well of this thing na undu ni urakioneka ni undu uragithi na mbere gukorwo ona ukiguciriria andu matiganite nigetha makorwo mena weight yao ya kuigana nigetha gutigira ati even if in 2022 there may a time somewhere after elections ati gukorwo ni gukorwo kwina an occasioned presidential issues ati no makorwo magithie the next the next step iria ikoragwo ni guthii igoti riria itugiri muno ni twita igoti iria thuburimu kana Supreme Court thiini wa bururi wa Kenya kuria the next chief justice uria gucagurwo agakorwo niwe the incumbent chief justice then na ni agakorwo in a major role na undu ucio ni guratuma gukorwo kwin a lot of keen eye into who will be becoming the next CJ or chief justice and those are what are guiding and such things are what is also in a way guiding no korwo influence muno no the next chief justice na nikyo turauga we can't just ignore and assume like that it's a very independent arm there is no influence of politics can influence of the senior most guys when it comes to matters politics and the senior most positions party eyeing to see who will be their flag bearer and who will take as the president come 2022 or during those polls of 2022 August 8th toni kintu kwa tweginya tariki hau niho twakorwo twikinya muthenya wa umuthi thiini wa murumo uyu witu wa kero hamwe na wa gatatu thiini wa tabarira ino yaku wendete ya Maatha na twakorwo makiria tukirora ohoro wigie uteti muno na makiria ohoro wigie ningi JSC na no twakorwo tukira nginya in a way uria ikuci kwa tuciki affect one blood related couples and then becoming so blunt you covered yourself with one duvet but now the same guy you call your bae no cause your death. Those are the things tuona gicunji kinene kia aria makoretwo mena a lot of conflicts kana aria manakorwo magikos oro igie ni domestic violence ni gicunji kia ta 40 uguo hari igana 47 hari igana na makoretwo inana na igiri hari igana na makoretwo mari athuri ni makoretwo magikos icio turagicita domestic violence na tuona cases no cithia na mbere cia batite kwa bata ori na watumia no makoretwo my constitute about 18% point something percent ni record the exact percentage those were around the numbers with cases rising to close to 2037 ukirigithania na 2019 ida interval ya January nginya mweri wa 6 na nginya 2020 kuma January nginya mweri wa 6 those cases had shot to about 2032 cases which was an increase by almost 100% na madumana makoretwo magithii na mbere uguo macio twakoro tukirora maingi muno thiini wa mirumo ino ito ya itatu kuma indi ya kumura magatheti ya The Standard na The Daily Nation or ringi ngitwaka twarika thiini wa kurora makiria thiini wa oro icio maundu megie the killings cia kwa cigithi na mbere thiini wa couples na twakoro ringi tukira maundu megie igoti rili athufurimu twakoro tukira process ya aria maybe what seemed like it's a penalty or maybe a punishment of the executive maybe it on the arm of the judiciary na twakoro tukirora what is really going on around the panel ni ndo uko Philomena Mbete Mwiru amurgo ni anakorwo akiuga no uko kwina kindu gitwa conflict of interest uguo ndabati ukorwo ariho along magi maigi toko tukiariria makiria maundu megie ruhonge rwa magoti guku bururi-ini thii na mbere uko wegiritanĩtie na ithuĩ thĩinĩ wa guku kwa Maatha show to tuko twikwe maundu marakwa magithii na mbere kwahanĩka guku oro na nja wa bururi na toro uguo tu we nawe wina gabiacara gaku na hau uguo thii na mbere ukorwo wina ithuĩ niga twakorwo tugithii na mbere gutheremia wira waku na njira imwe kana iria ingi uguo ndukae kuigua wina uritu totiganĩirio muno andu aya kana guku gwitu tukoragwo twina kanya kwa utigati twatangathia wira ucio waku na twakorwo tugitacokia makinya maria magirire na ugikorwo ugitukinyana na namba iriku tumira namba ya gibugo 728 788 ithathatũ kibugu ni undu wa Wanjiku na Njuguna we wakorwo wathi kuya karamu na hau uguo na mbere micokere o ringi ni gibugo 728 788 kibugu kura namba iyo andika ndumiriri nguhi no koma gukinyira nigetha ukorwo nawe ukimenya wira waku na ugutherema na njira iriku guko ni kwa Maatha show kuria tukoragwo tukiringa ikiuma irima to tumathaga rucini gutanatuka kana gutanathi mathaa muno kana riwa ritanaje gucina migongo na no tukwiraga where the finest detail counts and greatness really starts oguo wenda ukorwo githerema na wenda ukorwo kiandanduka tonyana na ithuĩ nigetha na ithuĩ tukorwo tugitonya nawe na makĩria tukorwo tugigutambia nginya nawe hangi o nginya muthenya wa rũciũ nyuma kwa mũgĩtwandĩkĩra Jacinta Bishop Kim Gachuma thengio muno ro hamwe na President Blessed Joy Bruce gatagatĩ ka angĩ aingĩ kũrĩa mĩrĩ-inĩ ya Twitter ro hamwe na Ethemethi ngaikera muno tondũ wa twakorwo tũrĩ hamwe na inyuĩ thiĩ na mbere gũkorwo mũnyitanĩire na ithuĩ na mũnyitĩire TV ĩno yanyu mwendete ya Nice TV mũciĩ wa gũkena na makĩria kwa Maatha show ona nigetha tukorwo tũgĩthiĩ na mbere gukorwo tukirikana makiri ka tukorwo tugitonya na makiri na guthi na mbere gutaraniria makiri niga tukorwo twina utauku wa kuigana because information is power and you have the right of information just by the fact of you being Kenyan and that is enshrined in the constitution. Ririkana wina wira wa kuruta ririkana yo thuritwo gitira ciringia ucio uthurite nigetha gutigira bururi wa Kenya no atacukia makinya megie uthii wa na mbere nigetha uko kwina internal liquidity na maundu makorwo magithi na mbere nginya muthenya wa rucio ngaiwa mwe kwenda kurathimia gutaririe maria ubati ukorwo ugika nigetha ukorwo kimafuata na ukorwo ukiona results ya maundu mau uguo ndiri na undu ungi wa gukwira ngaiwa mathaa makwa mathite muno ndirero ubatie gukorwo ngiuma ni tondu ciganagira macako ni kweheranira na ni noguo ngwika nigetha urero tabarira ingi to maundu toro iyo tati na no urenda ukenio hanini ndi na mbere ukorwo uri hamwe na ithuĩ nginya muthenya wa rucio ciao kana goodbye.
Nice TV, the home of joy.
To do is to pay them their per diems. I've also not understood why in the outer stations, the legal assistants, they type the proceedings. They type the proceedings. You call them, you talk to them, and you give each court assistant one file. By Thursday, from Monday, that file would have been typed. So everybody is engaged. In fact, in Malindi, even the drivers, they were incorporated to type proceedings. Typing means you type and the clerk will proofread, and even the judicial officer will proofread. So apart from the core mandate, the other issues like ensuring that the work environment is conducive for the staff. Thanks to those who have gone before us, there has been a great effort in developing the courts. When I came in, there were very few court stations, and even those ones which were there, getting a desk or an office to sit was also a problem. But I've seen the judiciary being transformed to where it is now. We are better off. At least I can say we have tried. It has been good work, and I do appreciate those who have gone before us, but we'll build on that so that the courts can be completed. In fact, if I were to be the new CJ, I will not even initiate any new law court. I would wait until all those which are in the process of being built to be completed, because I think we have quite a number of projects which are ongoing and the resources seems to be limited. So you cannot be happy to open a plaque that you are starting the construction of a court which will take 10 years to be completed. You'd rather get the one which is ongoing to be completed, and I think we have more than 40 projects ongoing, and where are the resources going to come from? So maybe, I don't know whether I should continue or I've said enough, but my transformation agenda, there are those ones who, there is the strategic plan, which was started by Honorable Justice Maraga, 2019-2023. I will build on that so that we bring justice nearer to the people. We open up the counties which do not have high courts. We try to establish high courts, not necessarily by building new courts. I'll give an example like Isiolo. I've been there. The court which was there was sufficient to even harbor 2 judges, but we have built a very big court which may be there and there is no judge there, and it's a very beautiful court. I wish that court could have been built in Meru, where even to get a space to sit is difficult. So sometimes, I know it's a World Bank project, but I don't think the World Bank insisted on building the court in Meru. It is us who would advise that we build the court in Meru. So there are those areas where it's people-driven, not... okay, as a leader, you take the responsibility of all what is being done in the judiciary, but you also consult. You don't just say, I need a court in Kwale. I know there is one being built in my county, and it's equally a bigger court, very big. It's a World Bank project. I don't know why the Mombasa one didn't start earlier than the Kwale one, because the Mombasa one is started just recently. So, Madam Chair, those are my thoughts. I can say more and more and more for the next 1 hour on this issue of leadership, because leadership is humility, leadership is being humble. You interact with all the staff in the institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge. I'll now request Acting Chief Justice, Honorable Lady Justice Philomena Mwilu, to continue with the questions.
I thank you. My Lord, let us stay with the transformation agenda. This institution of the judiciary, since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, has almost sung the transformation song. What to you is transformation, and why the transformation in this institution?
Thank you, Commissioner, Acting Chief Justice. The judiciary can be equated to an organization or even a business. And in every business, all the time, you have to keep up on your toes and keep on re-engineering the business and transforming it. Why the transformation song? That is a very vital question. We have to know where we came from. When I was recruited, I think there were 30-something judges, both in the High Court and the Court of Appeal. We were 42, I think, that time in 2009. And with a population then of about 40 million, I don't think the judiciary would have served the public. And that's why when Honorable Mutunga came in as per his famous quote, he found the judiciary in a position which it could not dispense justice. And it was considered as another arm of the government. Independence of the institution, not of the individual judges, was perceived to have been lost. And with the coming in of the new constitution, there was the need to transform this institution. That's why we saw the proposals even to have all the judges and judicial officers vacate their positions and reapply afresh. This one was reduced to the vetting, which we did go through. And that is now the background. You can see the public view on this.
All right, my lord, shall we move from the background then and come to you? And my lord, please tell this commission what Chief Justice Chitembo brings in the form of transformative leadership in the institution. Chief Justice Mutunga did his part, JTF. Chief Justice Maraga did his part, SJT. What is Chief Justice Chitembo's thing? What is it?
I think for the...
My lord, you are all fair.
Thank you. For the first 6 months in office, I will not intend to bring in any new agenda other than picking from the SJT. The duration of the SJT plus the strategic plan is still running. I already know what the institution weaknesses are and where to enhance. So an institution is like an organization. If you are appointed as a new CEO, you don't come in with radical issues where you plug this and that. But all I can say is I will pick up on the sustaining judiciary transformation. The same core issues, I will enhance them the way Justice Maraga did. Justice Maraga saw there was the 4 pillars of Justice Mutunga. Access to justice, Mutunga concentrated on building courts so that access to justice would have been closer. Justice Maraga emphasized on access to justice with the emphasis on the processes. So I will build on that. Transforming the institution, I will try as much as possible, and this I'm putting it in bold, to reduce the backlog. This is where the problem is, because any Kenyan who files a case expects it to be heard and to be completed as the Constitution requires, timely. If our vision is to dispense justice in a timely manner, how comes a case takes 10 years?
My lord, thank you. Maybe you could give us the title of your transformative leadership agenda.
My transformative leadership agenda will be to dispense justice within reasonable time, and I will come up with the timelines. To me, a new file, we have put 1 year, which is the current situation. I will not come up with any new style to say a file like a murder case should be had within 1 year. In fact, I will enhance it to 2 years, but strictly 2 years, to be completed within 2 years. I will come up with a strategy to complete an appeal within 1 year, and I will come up with a strategy to I don't know, you wanted me to coin something.
Yes, my lord, that's what we're asking for.
Judiciary.
That's what we're asking for you.
Okay, so my label will be dispensing justice within reasonable time.
And that is all encompassing, my lord. So shall we then go to the next issue? My lord, you told us earlier today the various roles of the Chief Justice. And you named quite a number of them. Kindly tell this commission which you consider to be the more important role of the Chief Justice, the challenges therein, and how you would overcome those challenges.
Okay, I would say all the roles are important because they're intertwined. Being the head of the judiciary covers all the other roles, and being the chairperson of the JSC, because the chairperson of the JSC is like the heartbeat of the judiciary, where the policies are being done, and the CJ and the administrative wing goes to implement. So the most important role is not, I would not say even presiding over the Supreme Court is very important, because you are the head of the judiciary. So your role is to ensure that the judiciary is working. So this covers the aspect of ensuring that the courts are dispensing justice, and the resources which are required to dispense that justice are available. Coming to the challenges of the CJ's office, it's not all sweet. It has its own bitter aspect. There is the role of being the head of the judiciary and working with the other arms of the government. There are those challenges where sometimes you might want to do something, but the finances are not there. So finances would be one of the biggest challenging aspect of the position, because you want to complete a court, but the finances are not there. You also want to, even last time we wanted to have benches to finish cases at the civil division, but there were no finances to pay the judges who would be called from other stations. Those will be the challenges. Other challenges include getting the commitment of each and every staff in the judiciary to be with you. There are those ones who will be with you. There are those ones who will just be hanging around. So there are those challenges where you have to motivate them as the leader. So the position is challenging because it has so many aspects which calls upon you to be the one giving guiding the others. But once you take up the position, you cannot just say I'm the CJ in the positive way, but whatever challenge, I'm not concerned. There are many challenges, Madam Acting Chief Justice. There are the challenges of dealing with the members of the public. What is their expectation? The public expects so much from the judiciary, and yet we cannot meet the expectation. So that is a challenge. And you cannot say within a year I would have satisfied everybody. It takes time.
My Lord, we are now looking for my Lord's way of overcoming those challenges. How do you surmount them, my Lord?
The problems cannot be surmounted overnight. It needs patience. It needs consultation. Consultation is one of the avenues to surmount those challenges. Another avenue is to maybe call upon the other arms of the government to understand the importance of the judiciary. Another aspect of surmounting them is to go down, not to be the ruler who comes in and carries the whip. Can you finish these cases? Can you do this? There are other aspects of administration which I believe I can do. I'll give an example of these anti-corruption cases. I've never understood why the law says the case should be heard from day to day, and yet it's not heard from day to day. It's parked in court for 3-4 years. And those are the challenges the Mwananchi cannot understand, because to the Mwananchi a corruption case involves somebody who is rich, and it takes 5 years or more, while somebody charged with stealing a phone is quickly prosecuted and sent to jail. So those are the challenges. How do I reconfigure this judiciary? And my policy would be, why would you take somebody all the way from Samburu to Nairobi to be charged? Why can't we have an anti-corruption court judge in Nyahururu? Why can't we have an anti-corruption court magistrate in Kisumu? I believe they are there. So, since I've said the core is the dispensation of justice, I've seen cases parked in Nairobi. A magistrate here has 10 anti-corruption cases with 35 witnesses each. How would you expect him to finish those cases?
All right. Thank you, my Lord. Let's now go to my Lord's role as the President of the Supreme Court. And I want to read to my Lord a statement here and then ask a question from it. Broadly speaking, a key dichotomy in legal thought is between normative legal theory and sociological approaches to law. What legal theory characterizes your judicial philosophy? That will be part one. And part two, so you can deal with all of it, is this. Should the law reflect social realities? If your answer is yes, is it to be applied equally to all? How does a judge determine what social interest or public policy to apply that will universally be acceptable and fit within the dynamics of society? My Lord, we want a discussion on your judicial philosophy, on your legal philosophy as President of the Court.
Okay. Legal philosophy, and as the President of the Court, normative, sociological, the law is...
and my Lord could also tell us, if you may, if this has crossed your path in the 12 years that you have been judge, and how you have resolved cases requiring the application of those two legal philosophies.
Thank you so much. I think sometimes it's so difficult to say this is my legal philosophy, because you will be facing several legal issues with the different dimensions. However, there are those who believe in positivism, where you apply the law as it has been prescribed by Parliament. I don't believe in that. The law is meant to serve us, and it is for the society. It's what the society wants, and apply the law so that you fulfill the needs of the society. So I will go with the sociological approach to the law. this law is, you can have a provision which is becoming difficult to implement because times are changing. So as President of the Supreme Court, I will be that pragmatic and use the sociological approach of applying the law. The law should reflect the social realities. I say yes, because what is its purpose? To serve the social, political, and economic aspects of the society. Should it be applied equally to all? I would say it will all depend on what is before the court. There are those instances where you can say these should apply to all, and there are those instances where it will depend. I can say no, it cannot be a principle of general application. Public interest, it's difficult to quench its thirst. So whenever, I know one of the grounds of appeal to the Supreme Court is a matter involving public interest. So it can involve public interest, but it's contrary to certain established principles. So I will not be there just to say because the public wants this, then they should be given. That to me is no. I have been here for 12 years. There are some aspects of the law, and that's why I've been criticized. But one aspect of being a judge is to be criticized and not to be swayed by those criticisms. If I had to give practical examples, I would say maybe I should have written an article or even a book on these sexual offenses. If you go to the prisons currently, I believe Commissioner Olwande will bear me witness, robbery with violence is no longer an issue. There are very few cases of robbery with violence compared to defilement. So the prisons are full with young men charged with defilement cases. If we are to go with the law, anybody who defiles somebody below the age of 18 is guilty. That is what the law says. But what is the practicality? This is not something we can shy away with. Maybe, I don't know whether I'll be asked to explain later, but I'm just trying to give a brief synopsis of, I've been asked of my experience. How do you take a 19-year-old young man to 15 years in jail for having had a relationship with a 17-year-old girl? How? I've tried to read quite widely on this issue. I've seen an example in America where they call the Romeo and Juliet laws, where they have the statutory rape, but they also have some exceptions. So we needed to come up with this. So in my own practical approach to the law, there is section 8.5 and 8.6, which gives a defense to this offense of defilement. If people have been dealing with each other for 3 years, why should I close my mind that because the age was not permitted, this person could not give the consent, I should convict the man?
My Lord, please give us, I'm getting towards the end of my discussion with you, but before we get there, and staying with what you have just said, my Lord, please tell us the instances that would bring the kind of discussion you and I are having to the minds of the judges of the Supreme Court, so that then we can decipher from that the role the president of the court would be playing in the manner my lord is discussing.
Okay, I think the Supreme Court, by the time the matter reaches there, I don't know whether some of these ones will reach there. I expected some of them to reach the Court of Appeal.
Actually, that's the question, my lord.
Yes. So, apart from what I was giving as an example, we are talking of a hypothetical situation. If it reaches there, what would the president of the court do? There it's a matter of discussing amongst the 5 judges who might be in the bench or more. But when now it comes to go back to the core aspect of the question, this aspect of normative and sociological approach and public interests, when it comes to the president of the court of, I know everybody is entitled to have his dissenting opinion. I know the judgment is by consensus, by the majority. But if I'm sitting as the president of the Court of Appeal, you don't want to impose because there it's not that you are the president of that court, so your decision is to be the first one to encompass the others. It's a matter of discussion and agreeing. But I will stick to my policy whereby the law should serve the society and not to be swayed so much so that whatever is written in the statute should reign supreme irrespective of the changes in the society. And there are ways of explaining that in the judgment which I will be writing. So I don't know whether I'm answering the core, because I think we have been not getting the core. What is the core? What will I do? So to me, I'll say I'll stick to my sociological policy.
And I thank you, my lord. The Supreme Court, of which my lord would be president should you become Chief Justice, sits in a multiple judge bench, always, except for those entry points of very minor things. There is such a word as collegiality. Would my lord please tell us what that is in practical terms, and what my lord would do with it amongst the colleagues in the court?
I became so much conversant with collegiality from our current AG when we went for these colloquiums, and his keyword and emphasis is collegiality. We are colleagues. The simple meaning is that we are all colleagues serving the same institution, and as the Supreme Court, we are colleagues, so that whenever we are sitting as a bench, we should discuss what is our view of the matter, not bringing in the personal aspect of interpretation, but we discuss as a group. I've sat in benches in the High Court. You would not decide because I decided like this in my previous decision. Then you have to follow what I said. Another colleague would have decided otherwise in another decision. So it's a compromise. In short, it's a compromise between your personal thoughts and the task at hand. What do we do as colleagues in the bench? Let us decide according to the problem.
Finally, from me, my lord, what is that one thing that my lord as president of the court is coming to fix? And how is my lord going to fix that one thing?
I know the composition of the Supreme Court as it is now. The office of the CJ is vacant. The DCJ presides. I'm not seeing any problem which needs to be put in the spanner works. maybe all what I can say is I will enhance the collegiality. I've never sat there to see if there is any inside problem, maybe infighting amongst the judges, whereby they need to be talked to. These are senior most judges who have been there. I think all of them have been there for more than 3 years. So I'm not going to say I'm going to the Supreme Court to fix this. I don't think I can tell you that. What I can say I will fix is maybe to say if there is any backlog in that court, I will sit down with them and agree on how to clear any pending backlog. But when it comes to administrative issues, I don't think I can say that there is a problem in the Supreme Court. The judges need to be talked to. They are not working together. I don't think I can say that. And honestly, I'm not going to say I'll go and fix a certain problem which I'm seeing at the back of my mind. I know all the judges who are there. I interact with them, and I have no issue with them.
I thank you, my lord. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I will now request Honorable Judge Wasame to continue with the questions.
Okay. Welcome once again, my Lord Judge. And let's start with where we left. My sister, Acting Chief Justice, left. In your view, there is no problem to be resolved in the Supreme Court, both in terms of jurisprudence, both in terms of the workings of the court. Every 5 years, people are disgruntled with the court. So in your view, you don't think there is a problem to be solved by you as the Chief Justice?
Let me say this. If there are problems, the Bible says, if the case is difficult, return it to me. And so is the Quran. Disgruntling against the Supreme Court will always be there. So it's not something where you will say, I've fixed the Supreme Court, we are writing unanimous decisions, and there is no dissenting opinion, then the problem is fixed. Because a judge of the Supreme Court has his own opinion, has his own ideas. You cannot force him to write a judgment just because of collegiality to sway him to your... We will talk, but whoever is...
So in your view, there is no problem to be solved in the Supreme Court, both in terms of perception of integrity, perception of jurisprudential problems, in terms of delayed judgments. So there is no problem in the Supreme Court for you to settle. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. I think I've been here, I've been reading what the Supreme Court is doing. It has been delivering rulings and judgments as late as this month on the issue of
I am satisfied if you say there is no problem to be settled. There is no problem to be settled, my lord.
I will be honest, I don't like beating about the bush. Maybe the problem is that of perception. You know, perception as a problem will always be there. But how do you cleanse perception? How do you cleanse it?
So there is no problem to be settled in the Supreme Court?
To my mind, if there is, I don't know it.
Has the jurisdiction of the court been settled 10 years down the line in terms of election petitions, in terms of arbitration, and in terms of criminal law?
First and foremost, you have to acknowledge that the Supreme Court does not bind itself. And it has been there for, this is the 9th year. And there's been dynamics. I've read the case of the Wajir governor, where 2 judges had their different opinion on this issue of elections.
I invite you to go to specifics, and I'm asking,
yes,
has the jurisprudence on jurisdiction, on arbitration matters, election petitions, and criminal law settled by the court? And I want you to go to specifics. If it has been settled, say yes, and then proceed. If it has not been settled, say no, and then you answer.
I can say it has not been settled because there are divergent views.
So that is a problem for you, isn't it, to solve?
It's not a problem, and I will give you the answer. It's not a problem in the sense that a similar problem will come and the judge will stick to his earlier position. How do you solve it? Will you force him to say pre-election issues should not be determined by IBC, can come all the way to the Supreme Court? Will you sway the others to tell them, no, if this matter is not, it's not res judicata, bring it all the way? So I'm not saying I'm a magician. If I go there, I will call this judge. Why did you decide like this? Can you decide like this? It doesn't go that way.
Okay, let's go to the next question. The judiciary, in terms of the judges, magistrate, and the staff, they are well equipped, well resourced, and well paid. But there is a problem of delayed judgments, failure of advocates to get a hearing date within reasonable time. We are now in the diary of maybe 2021 in some courts, or 2022 in some courts. How do you intend to resolve that problem? And don't tell me about the numbers. The numbers are not an issue.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's true, we have recruited the numbers. It's many hands make light work, but it's not working. Well paid, I do agree. Not all Kenyans get what the judicial officers are getting and the staff. There are delayed judgments. You have been sitting here as the JSC. I believe you have seen the performance of each and every judicial officer. I'm not saying there is laziness. I cannot say that. I can't say that. There are parameters. PMMU is there. Performance management is there, and we sign each year. The strategic plans have come in with the naming and shaming those who are not working. I've never seen anybody named that he or she has not performed. Everybody has been putting a day's work, and all what it needs. You know, if I go there with that personality that I want these judgments to be written within the provided period of 60 days or rulings within 30 days, and you have to do it, that is called the result-oriented leadership, which does not work. I can tell you it doesn't work. You have to talk to the people and bring them on board to do this work voluntarily. You can set the parameters. Here we are, you are one-man station in Malindi. What is your output? We can see backlog is piling vis-a-vis your output.
Judge,
yes.
What I want you to say, what is your solution for delayed judgment? One. And secondly, what is your solution for failure to get a hearing date within a reasonable time? Say 1, 2, 3. That's what I want from you. Tangible steps.
Okay, the first thing for delayed judgment is the parameters are there. If the judgment is not given as per the provided 60 days, the current system requires that the judicial officer should give reasons. Why didn't you deliver this ruling within the specified period? One, I will follow up what Justice Maraga did, is to write to all the judges, how many judgments do you have, or magistrates, how many judgments do you have which are long overdue? And if possible, I will even tell somebody to take his leave and go and write those judgments and finish them. So that is another way of clearing them. Because I cannot say they are there. I have to know first, are they there? I believe you know they are there. And I will be able now to say, if you have any judgment or ruling which is long overdue, I'm giving you this number of days, can you write it? And if you cannot complete, please tell me what is the problem, because I also have to understand. Maybe the judicial officer was sick. So you cannot force him to write 60 judgments. I know there are judges with who have been on transfer with about 70 judgments which have delayed. To write them, when they went to the new stations, they picked other new judgments. So it's the dynamics of the work, which Commissioner, you know. So you want solutions. So the first solution is give every judicial officer with a pending judgment time to write instead of absorbing new judgments, so that those who are waiting can know their fate. The other one is to know also the problems. Why are they delayed judgments? Yet we are many, as you correctly put it. We were 42 and we were delivering judgments on time. Why are we 150 and they are delayed judgments? That is another problem to be sorted out. The other issue is on hearing dates. Nowadays we have e-diary. And you don't want, the numbers will always be there, because if the diary itself is speaking the hearing dates, how do you blame it? But I agree with you. My solution will be to ensure that we have, as it has been proposed in some of the procedures, equal number of files for each judge, so that we don't have somebody with a fewer number of cases on his cause list, yet others have 20 doing the donkey work and others are enjoying. So my solution to that is to ensure that we have like a quarterly checkup between January and March. Are dates available? By the time we open up April, did somebody miss a hearing date in March, in that last quarter, so that he can be given priority?
Okay. Let's come to the workings of the Supreme Court. There is this famous case which went to the East African Court, the Maatha Karua case, the Honorable Maatha Karua case. Do you agree with the decision of the Supreme Court? And why?
Okay. I have not interacted so much with that specific case, but I've been reading it, that the matter was heard before the court in
I'm talking about the Supreme Court decision.
Yes,
here.
yes. It started all the way from the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the issue involved election petition, and I think the Supreme Court was of the view that time had already lapsed to hear the matter, because by the time the applications were heard, when it went back, my sister said the time had lapsed. I can say I do agree with what the Supreme Court said, because there are timelines with these election petitions.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about the timelines, now that you talked about the timelines.
Yeah, it's provided in the Constitution and the Elections Act that an election petition has to be heard within the period of 6 months. And that time does not stop running. So it's incumbent upon any...
Where do you get that the time does not run, does not stop running? Because it talks about 6 months.
This is now the jurisprudence which has come up, including the case you are referring to, because I think the main issue was I went to the Court of Appeal for an appeal. When I came back, I was told time did not stop running, and my case was not determined substantively. So that has been the issue. Time, okay, the 6 months is from where the case is instituted, not at the Supreme Court level, where we say High Court 2 months, Court of Appeal 2 months, Supreme Court 2 months. No. The 6 months is that if a matter is filed before the magistrate court involving a member of county assembly, that court should determine it within 6 months. If it goes to appeal, the presumption is that the
judge.
Yes.
If a High Court judge like yourself was hearing